failed demographic is not what having sex with children is, or covering up sex with children. That's not failing a demographic. That's failing fucking, basic.
That's AWOL thoughts. I love that comment. I want to.
The whataboutism for this one is crazy.
I want to print that out and frame that. That's so funny.
That's crazy.
Genuinely, you're talking about like a pedophile, and you're like, what?
You mean like the underage demographic?
Biden stuttered equals Trump having the privilege to go to like trafficking island. You know what I mean? Like
Biden was kind of shitty towards labor unions too. Or like.
That's crazy.
With Donald Trump and this Epstein stuff, the list doesn't exist, and Trump isn't on the list, and Trump is on the list, but only because Obama, Clinton, and Comey put him on.
Exactly.
Those explanations don't make sense. And another one that we are now getting to is Trump supposedly broke off a connection with Jeffrey Epstein because he's a creep. But now Trump is telling us it's actually because he was hiring people out from under.
I just want to warn all of you for your own sake, man. Like, you can't use the same old tired fucking distractions on this one. I'm sorry. It just really makes you look really fucking stupid.
It's not going away. This one's not. We've talked about stuff not going away. This one is definitely not going away. This is going to be around. It might even be the legacy of his presidency.
This is the stank that lasts, buddy.
Yeah.
Under me, and maybe the biggest single bombshell in this entire slow slide into the truth is that now Trump acknowledged on Air Force One that actually the people that Epstein hired out from under Trump, in some cases, were the very sorts of underage women, girls, that are at the core of the sex trafficking, of the abuse of the entire thing. Here is Trump saying, well, the hiring out from under me was out of my spa. And actually, it seems maybe one of the people was indeed Virginia Giuffre, who tragically took her own life in April and is...
Reggie, I appreciate the being alert on it, man. I feel you. But like, honestly, let these guys just show their ass. We don't need to mod them right now. Let them show their ass.
Sort of a key character, victim. I don't know what you would call her in this entire fiasco. Listen to this. Dear God.
Mr. President, Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously.
Actually, I'm going to put a couple of these on screen while we watch this. That'll be fun.
Just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Were some of them
young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Oh,
yeah.
The answer is, understand, Trump's equivocating.
Whoa.
A lot of the people that were taken were from Mar-a-Lago.
Some of the people
better,
worse. Epstein took from me were underage.
In the spa. Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa.
Oh my God, I've never seen this before. Holy shit.
And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that.
What an asshole.
When I heard about it,
he's saying he knew about people complaining about this? Hold on. Did he just say that? Did he just say people would complain that people are taking people from the spa and he knew about this?
He's talking about, well, when I found out about it, I said, hey, buddy, don't be doing that, buddy.
Oh my God.
When he took my underage massage workers from my spa, I was really mad, and I told him, we can't be friends anymore. You can't come in here stealing my underage girls from my spa. But
it's the best spa in the world because people get trafficked from it. That's why, right? That's what he's saying.
That's exactly what he's saying. I mean, yeah, he wasn't upset that Epstein was a pervert or a sex pest or anything like that. He was upset that his staff were being poached by Epstein, his underage staff that he knew were underage.
Apparently, like he just said, you heard it. You fucking heard it. That's the best. And like I said, the best, most charitable. I don't know why I would be charitable to this motherfucker, but he's got brain worms out the ass at this point. And I kind of don't think he realizes what he's saying. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he realizes what he's saying. He's just
what he's saying
in and out
shows a level of disconnect, because it to me almost reads like he's from a culture where this type of shit, oh, this is just normal. We do this shit, you know.
He's having flashbacks to it. Like he's like, oh yeah, back then this is what we did.
Well, that's why he gets so angry when they're like, "Why are they talking about this? What's so fucking long ago? He's dead? Why are they talking about this?" He doesn't realize. Oh, it's because the thing that is at stake here. The question is literal atrocious crimes, like a mass amount of them in the thousands. Lives ruined. Literally, the woman that gets brought up here in a second, because it's not over yet. It gets worse.
I mean, this is a valid question too. I mean, yeah, they had to like vet the people that were working in the spa. He was hiring very young girls to work in what was, I assume, an adult spa.
Who
was his Ghislaine Maxwell? You know?
Yeah. Well, I do want to point this out as well, because I know I'm going to sound like a broken record here because I made this point about conservatism a minute ago, but like the thing is, like, this is what I meant. Like, even as we speak, like the Republican Party in America is trying to like bring back child labor. What do you think is going to happen with guys like this around underage workers? What do you think that's going to entail? Like, just run it through your, like, this is one of the reasons why I'm like so against like young people like needing to work, why we need to have bigger social safety nets. We need to have more support for single parents and disabled people and all kinds of stuff, because like this is the type of shit that fucking happens. You know, and every time you see a Republican go on Fox News where they're like, you know, back in the old days, we used to have kids working. Back in the old days, like the abuse of children was so rampant. Like, it's so crazy. I don't like
the maiming of children and working in factories was like a fucking epidemic for a period, you know, like in the early 20th century. It was just, you know, children losing arms and fingers and hands and shit like that. If they lived, you know, during accidents.
You're taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine. And then not too long after that, he did it again. And I said, out of here.
Hold on.
You know, person, does that include Virginia Nefri?
I don't know.
Wait.
I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah.
Oh my fucking God.
And by the way, she had no complaints about us.
She had no complaints about us.
Look, he's implicating himself in sex trafficking a minor. That's crazy.
So wait, he said though, one of the things he said there was that they complained about a guy taking people, and then it happened again, meaning that he didn't do anything about it when he first heard about it. When he first heard this guy was doing it, he did nothing, and then it happened again.
I just want to point out before I fucking blame these motherfuckers, I want to point out what you two motherfuckers, you fucking scumbags, are sitting here doing because you're so fucking brain rotten to conservative propaganda. You are saying that even though we have a sitting president admitting to hiring underage females, minor children, to work, do massages, and that they were taken from his place of employment to Epstein's place of employment, and further, you know, exploited, probably, I would say probably worse than what Trump was doing. I would give that, right? But still exploited nonetheless, and fucking abused sexually, raped, okay? To the point where they're traumatized for life, and in some cases, as the woman that he just acknowledged worked for him and was taken to Epstein, killed herself because of this not too long ago. You are saying that, well, you know, left and right both have some issues. Find me when this happened for any Democrat president. Find me find me anything remotely like this for the fucking the executive office of the United States of America.
And the
find me
cover-up
that shit.
that's happening, the cover-up that is happening as well.
You fucking brainless fucking I'm sorry, you're out of here.
I just think that's so interesting to look at like an actively unfolding case of like people talking about raping children, and you're just like, well, you know, both sides.
All right, you assholes.
Hey, it's us.
Yes.
Are we audible? Oh shit! Knocking stuff over already. Hey guys, welcome.
I hope we are.
Hey man, that's fun. That's a fun, awful clip to have to watch, but it's bears repeating that's a thing that happened. That's the thing that Trump said.
Normal shit, I guess.
You know, I saw something. Let me pull this meme up that I saw earlier. It was pretty. I mean, not funny, but like funny in the way that like it's 2025 and things are just so fucked that you kind of have to laugh. Or you know, where is it here? It is something about. God damn it, where was it? Anyway, how you doing, man? How's your week?
Good so far. So far, so good.
Did you beat me in subs yet? Twice over? What?
No. I am a couple hundred higher than we were last week, though. Right. I think I'm on the way to 6.5 now. So
dang, well deserved.
Yeah. Thank you.
And did you have any? Did you open up the server? Or where are you at?
Yeah. The Discord is open now. I will probably share the links. I'm only going to share it during live streams. I'm not going to put it on my profile. So
smart.
If you don't come to the live streams, you can't get in. That's kind of the way it works.
Yeah.
I do the link works for 24 hours. So basically, if you watch the stream within 24 hours, you can like click on the link or whatever. But I don't want to put it anywhere on my profile. Too many opportunities for people to come in and be bad actors. But we have a lot of mods on my server, so. Yeah.
Well, is Melanie Mack allowed?
No, but she's actually closing her Twitter now, or apparently she's leaving Twitter. So
I was setting you up.
Yeah. She's leaving her Twitter. I thought it was interesting. I made a video about her the other day, the Sydney Sweeney stuff, where she called her like a prostitute, and I'm like, that's interesting.
Wow.
Randomly call people prostitutes.
I mean, words don't have meaning, I guess.
But the thing is, the reason why she's getting a lot of pushback is because she went to a My Chemical Romance concert, and we all know they're like liberal as fuck. So her fans were like, why are you going to that concert? Why would you even go to do that? She's like, well, you know, you can separate the art from the artist. They're not actively doing anything to me. And she like made this Cope video about it. And it's like, you spend your time attacking everyone for even a tiny inch of diversity.
Harmless media like X97 and shit, like, you know.
Yeah, but you're going to go to a concert with a band where the lead singer uses they them pronouns, is dressed in drag on stage, they've kissed on stage, has supported LGBTQIA plus communities in every way you can possibly imagine. The name of the band deals with like substance abuse and relationships. So I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that it's like she's trying to make an excuse for that. And so her fans, her actual, like, I'm not talking about like us or random people on the internet,
right?
Her actual fans that have supported her through thick and thin. If you go and you look in the comments of that video, they're like, no, this is fucked up. You shouldn't be going to see that band. They support degeneracy and all this other shit. And she's like, well, you know, I've loved them, blah, blah, blah. And so like her fans were just basically eating her alive over that. And so she decided that now Twitter is not good, even though Twitter is the one platform that allowed her to do things without ever getting in trouble. Like she could F-slur over there, all that shit. They never held her accountable.
I'm just trying to find any kind of coherence in her logic, because like, she used to also say that, love people for who they are. Don't judge people. Jesus said, don't judge people. We have video of that. So like, why doesn't that hold over like her love for My Chemical Romance?
I mean, the weird thing is that she, I think that we've reached a point where like the people have checked out from her. Like Quartering posted a tweet or something saying that he wasn't her father, so he doesn't know what's going on with her, blah, 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 this other stuff.
Prove it.
And even right. Even under that though, people were just like, she's fucking crazy. Like, she lost the plot. The Christian shit is too much. Like there is a limit, I think, that even the conservative group is willing to put up with when it comes to the Christian shit. And she's just, obviously she's so sidetracked from this for a moment, just briefly. When I was growing up, my mom for a brief time got sort of wrapped up in that, like the prosperity gospel shit about like, you spend money and then God will let you into heaven and stuff. And so she was sending money to like this, who was it? It was one of those evangelists.
Was it Creflo $1? I always thought he had a great name.
No. This was like, God, what was his name? It doesn't really matter. He was one of those guys that just kind of like gets on TV and asks people to send him money, sending you blessed holy water and all this shit or whatever. And if anybody really wants to see like a satirical version of like how it really is. The Righteous Gemstones is great. Like it really does show you like, yes, that's funny and it takes it to an extreme, but really there's a lot of corruption that goes on with like the ministry and stuff in these particular bits of our reality. And so she supporting this band while actually doing all of this shit, right? All the things that like she's not selling holy water, but she's still grifting off a religion. And so she's doing all of this, and she has a bunch of true believers, which I didn't think existed, but I guess there are some in her group that are true believers. She has Bible verses on videos on YouTube and shit like that. So she's got all these true believers, and she's literally doing the opposite of what she's been saying not to do for like a year and a half now. And so it's like you're going out and you're supporting a queer positive band that has always been that way. And your thing is you can separate art from the artist. This is like 180 degrees away from the stuff she's been doing. Like we're talking about, she doesn't want queer people in video games. She doesn't want a supporting queer character in movies and TV shows. If you even show a rainbow flag for a split second in something, she loses her mind. Like it just doesn't make any logical sense. There's no consistency in her supporting My Chemical Romance and saying everything she's been saying for the last year and a half.
Her brain is like a fucking spaghetti strainer or something, man. Because like it's just whatever she wants to, feels like she wants to believe at whatever time. Because there's this one.
New visuals, features, and all the farming simulation you could ever dream of. And now you have the option for same-sex marriage too. So that's new and really cool. And now I don't have to play as a dude to marry my favorite suitor, and
I would point out, I'm not saying anything and making any kind of declarative conclusions or anything, but like she looks healthier here.
I was gonna, you know what? I literally was gonna say the same thing. She doesn't look batshit right here, like this, like and I again, I don't like to armchair diagnose people, but let's just look at the superficial elements of this. She looks healthier and happier here than she looks now.
When was last time
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, when was the last time you think she smiled for a reason other than like she's triggered a lib or something? Right?
I don't know.
Like back then, probably at this point.
True, but I mean the thing about it is, it looks to me. So I don't know her situation at home, but from what I've been told, like my comments love to like tell me tidbits of lore about people. Mm-hmm. From what I've been told, she was with this guy. She was married. Obviously, they're no longer together. The rumor is that he left her for another guy. I think that's like, that might be.
That'll do it, I guess. If
that really happened, I get it. Yeah, 100%. I don't know if it did or not, but the point is, she was out of her home.
Out.
Sorry, yeah, you were for a second, but you're fine. No, you're okay now. You were for a second though. You sound like you were defragging a little bit.
Cool.
But she was out married with this guy, living away from home, and now she lives either in the same house as her family or in that relative area because she's always out with them doing stuff and everything. It's almost like she got away from them and she was able to be herself, and then she went back to them, and all of a sudden it was like Christian indoctrination. And that's not a stretch, guys. Like that's not me reaching. That is a very common thing that happens. Like when you move out away from your parents, they might hold some beliefs that you don't hold, and you have to, for some reason, live with them again or live near them again for some reason. You typically would see people like kind of adopt those beliefs. That's just a natural thing that happens with a lot of people, especially people that are very weak-willed. Right. So I feel like she was living her best life when she was out from that, and now she's under that again, and it's all of this stuff over again. And people have left stuff like this is the church she goes to and all this other shit in my comment section, which I don't talk about in video. But the point is that I think she was much happier when she was not around people. I don't want to say forcing, but
influencing her,
influencing or persuading her to do stuff.
It's like this. I have some empathy, not necessarily for her exactly, but that type of situation where, okay, let's say if that's what happened, whether he left her for another guy or a woman or whatever. Like you've been married for a few years, several years, whatever. That's gonna leave anybody kind of like trying to figure, like, how did I go wrong here? I made this life decision. Now it's fucked. Like everything I had planned is, you know what I mean. So like you're gonna be vulnerable. You're going to be looking for answers. You're going to be looking for what to do next, and who's your people. Who do you connect with now? This person that was your life is gone now.
Yeah.
Right. So like it's completely understandable that someone would be vulnerable in that type of situation. But yeah, she's definitely the hurt people hurting people now. So no good. I mean, the only saving grace is that apparently she's not very popular anymore. So
yeah, she's losing a lot of support. Look, and this is her own doing. Like the support that she's losing has nothing to do with anybody else. It's just literally her at this point. It looks like Chariot's in the waiting room there.
Oh, what? Oh yeah, shit. Hey, Chariot.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, here we are in America, where if you're an immigrant with legal status who's committed no crimes, you can be sent to torture prison in a foreign country where you'll be, raped and dehumanized. But if you're old pals with Trump and ran a pedophile ring, you get sent to a cushy minimum security prison despite being ineligible because you're a sex offender. America.
Yeah.
America. Sorry, I just had to get that. I read that tweet earlier and I was like, man, that's really well worded. I need to repeat that. Because holy shit, man, what a fucking clown show we're in right now. Anyways, what are you up to, Chariot? Feeling better?
Yeah. I've recovered well from COVID. I had my cousin's weekend and my friend's birthday this past, or my cousin's wedding and my friend's birthday this past weekend. So, yes, not completely. I still got a little bit of that like brain fog and that like long COVID stuff going on where it like gets in your lungs, My breathing isn't all the way back.
It's just a little flu.
Yeah, right. Oh man, it's funny because when I was laying down and I realized that if I was like on my back laying down like just straight flat on my back, I like couldn't breathe. I was like, oh, that's why this kills people, because it stops you from doing the thing that you need to do to be alive.
Right.
Somebody sent me something. I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm double checking it. They said the Yellow Flash has just started putting random pride flags and stuff in his thumbnails now, like when it has nothing to do with anything in the video.
Sad.
Have you guys noticed that?
Imagine being so like utterly, dependent on queer people for your livelihood. Like,
yeah, like I just looked the last 3 videos that he's done. Like he's got a Fantastic Four video that just came out a couple hours ago. Which, by the way, I want to point out, I have to stop myself sometimes because I think like, what would people think if I put out like 3 videos a day of just me talking about stuff? Which, by the way, that might happen soon. But he puts out so many videos every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think at least 3, maybe 4 a day. But anyway, he's got one about Fantastic Four here that has pride right across the center of the Fantastic Four. I don't know what that has to do with anything. There's literally no queer content in that movie at all.
He's just openly fucking hating his viewers at this point.
Yeah.
He's like
Howard Stern. He's got a Howard Stern thumbnail with a pride flag on it. Like,
wait a minute. LGBT. What are we? Some kind of Fantastic Four?
Whoa!
Say that again.
Yeah. No, I mean it's like he's got he's got 2 or 3 other Fantastic Four thumbnails with gay pride stuff in it, and it's like, what? Proud and gay.
Okay.
I don't really understand. Like, I do believe that this is okay. Is this a sign of desperation? Maybe like he's not getting the numbers that he needs to pay all of the people that work for him to make all of his thumbnails and shit like that. That he's got to trick people to click on videos because they hate gay people. Maybe?
I'm guessing that's kind of part of it.
It might be the play, because I think one of the next big Republican moves in the United States is going to be to go after gay marriage. So
yeah,
they said they wouldn't. They said they wouldn't do that. They said he wouldn't do that.
By the way, there are some people that I used to stream with quite often, which I don't really do that anymore, but I used to go in their chats or whatever. They made several videos about me when I wasn't there, saying that it was a laugh of all the things that I was worried about with Trump. And like 90% of those things have actually happened, and they have been completely silent. And I always think back to that first like few videos after he was elected, in the first couple live streams I did where I talked about it. And they were saying, oh, it's the slippery slip shit is just a lie and blah, blah, blah. Literally everything I complained about. Remember the trans thing in the military when I said that like there was 100% chance that he's going to do it again because he tried to do it in his first term.
It was literally the first thing he did the first time.
And it was the first thing he did. Right. Yeah. And he did it again. And so they laughed about that. I said I was worried about gay marriage. They said, oh, no, that'll never happen. It's really popular. All it takes is for a couple of fringe people to push it hard enough that it ends up back in the forefront again. But this time it's going to affect other people too, because if they manage to go after like marriage equality, that's going to affect interracial marriages too. So, I mean, good luck with that one. Like that's that's the next step, like, because it's just going to get more and more radical. And then we have like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is now breaking with Trump. She's actually actively being anti-Trump on interviews and on social media, because Mike Walls, one of the Signalgate guys, got promoted in a position that I think her or one of her friends was supposed to get. Now she's saying they're anti-women because they're promoting men instead of women. And I'm like, what are you, some kind of feminist now all of a sudden? Like, what's going on here?
I mean, yeah, I have a theory. It's based on nothing, but like, you know, it's fun. The powers that be, as in like Murdoch and the other rich corpo fucks across the globe that have decided that Trump, after the big beautiful bill, he's outlived his usefulness, and they've started doing the Epstein push and everything. You know, I think, you know, maybe they just reach out to her because she's probably pretty easily bought.
Yeah, and nothing she's, by the way, I was checking earlier, nothing that she has done since in the last several months, maybe even longer than that, nothing she's done has passed. She's literally been like as lame as you can possibly be in her position. Everything she's gone after has just not gone anywhere. Like trying to make English the quote unquote official language of the United States. All these things were just performative things, and she couldn't even get those done. So she's literally just taking up space. She's not doing anything. She's getting paid to do nothing, essentially.
Yeah. What do you think Critical Drinker is going to do if it turns out that he's right about this here? It's time to accept that our culture has moved on from superheroes. There will always be a full audience. Like, what are you going to do, Drinker? What are you going to do?
I have a very scathing video coming out on Friday that I don't want to spoil too much. I actually did a video on this. I don't mind talking about it, but there's a scathing video where it was a reaction to someone else. But in that video, I literally destroyed this entire talking point, and I had such a good time doing it. That'll be out on Friday.
Nice.
But I don't think they even understand. This is like going, I can't wait till I can't get water anymore. I can't wait till I'm unable to buy food. Like what is this? You know what I mean? Like you're excited that your entire existence is about to be erased. Because the thing is, I would just pivot my content to something else. I don't know what they would do because their entire audience are leeches to this. Like, this is what they're there for. They're there for the outrage against fandom content. Like, would they just become political channels at that point? Would they just talk politics? Like, what would they do if all of these things just if the well just dried up?
I mean, with Gamergate, we kind of saw something, which is like channels like Sargon of Akkad and Davis Arini and Jordan Owen all had different paths after that stuff, because they were all like riding like the culture kind of movement. And then Carl Benjamin just pivoted into straight up white nationalist politics. The other two kind of fell off because they were seen as like too cringe.
I thought it was a classical liberal. Just kidding. It's a joke. Bad joke.
I want to follow up.
Think about, you made me think for a second. I was like, what?
That's what he claims. He probably still claims that fucking dipshit.
I don't know. He had that debate with Vosh forever ago. This was like years ago now, where he just like was straight up talking about like white nationalist stuff. I want to send you guys something. Actually, this is a follow up. It took me a minute to find this, but pursuant to something that Eric said earlier, I just sent it in DMs. I don't know if you can pull this up.
Gotcha. Yep.
Or if I can pull it up or whatever. But this is a comment that I got under a now deleted thread because somebody was having like a straight up crash out. So this was under a comment from a right-wing person having a crash out in my comment section. This is another different person from that same thread. A lot of this is just really goofy, but I want to draw your attention to the like third sentence here. Bigots are a fantasy in your head brought about by your own radicalization, which you deny happened. So first of all, I was transgender in the 90s. I was gay in the 90s.
Hipster.
Like the idea that like that I imagined it is so that's crazy. It's actually insane. And I just think it's like super. First of all, this is a very funny comment because this guy's talking about how he like reads a lot of Yuri manga, which like same homie, but like I just this is like this is really weird. But I want to draw your attention to something, which is he says bigots are a fantasy in your head. This was under a comment. This is a comment that was under a video where I addressed Melanie Mack. This is so bad faith. Gay people on the internet get these comments all the fucking time, where it's just like, oh, you're imagining homophobia. You made that up. Did I?
So is it bad faith, or is it like just brain rot though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he might actually believe this. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both, right? It's like that Sartre quote, right? Because like a certain amount of it of real bad faith behavior is not necessarily tactical dishonesty. He's not just lying. It's like a really like prejudiced person will sometimes like guide themselves into having beliefs that they know sort of privately are not based on rationality.
Yeah.
But not admitting that is kind of the point.
Yeah. Somebody said one time, and I forget what the percentage was exactly, but it's something like, you know, some percentage of being a bigot is just denying that bigotry exists. You know what I mean? And if you look around on the internet, it's less and less that, I guess, all the time. Some people don't care anymore. But yeah, that seems to hold true. Like, you're either being a bigot. If you're a bigot, you're saying something bigoted, or you're denying bigotry exists, which is arguably frustrating in a different way, I guess. But yeah, I
think it's also like trying to comfort yourself. Like, if you are a bigot and you can just make somebody else out to be a bigot, then you feel like you're not a bigot, right? So it's like, if you guys are doing what I think is actually bigotry, then I'm no longer the bigot. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what's going on with Trump, as we watched last week. Watched the clip before this stream. The people that are still like, oh, Ghislaine Maxwell is a victim and stuff like that, and they're making excuses. Like, these people know they're fucking terrible people. I think they haven't like accepted it about themselves, but on some level, there's just like this part of them that's like, that's just who they are, and they've just determined that's what they're going to be.
I'd actually, this goes back to something that somebody said, like, I think months ago. It was a comment that, like, a chat that we got on the Shillcast. And somebody brought up that, like, the way that these dudes like recruit with their content model is they convince a bunch of people, like, the left hates you, the developers of this game hate you, the Hollywood people hate you, they're attacking you, they're coming for you. I spent a lot of time thinking about that, because this was a chat that we got from somebody who was, like, I think self-described like formerly a fan of some of these people. So I thought that was a really like earnest and self-aware comment, and I thought a lot about it. And the connection that I made, I was reading Ursula Le Guin. She has this line about like becoming aware of bigotry, and she said something like, from the moment that you become aware, you can no longer in good faith deny what's happening. And from that point on, if you're not against it, then you're going to feel like you're colluding, basically. And I think that there's a certain degree to which the content model for a lot of these guys is basically like playing into that idea that in noticing the injustice, you will sometimes feel attacked by it, by being party to it.
Right.
In the same way that, like I'm sure there were and have been a lot of people in societies across the globe for a very long time where they notice there's something fundamentally unequal. This was actually, I think Andrea Dworkin made this point in Intercourse, in the really famous book that she wrote. She says something about men in relationships with women, that it's like conspicuous that they can feel like really entitled, and that it seems like a lot of them don't really like confront the nature of how society constructs their relationships to women. And I think that's probably why a lot of men like become ardently sexist, because they kind of notice like a way in which they're sort of passively implicated in something, and that's troubling.
Want to welcome Ryan. Thanks for being here, man.
Hello.
Hey, how's things? Can you hear me okay?
Hear you just fine. Yeah.
Cool.
Jared's just here dropping authors and books that nobody else has read, so it must be another Wednesday Shillcast. Yeah.
Well, to bring it back down to our level, I was just thinking what you were saying about Maxwell, and it occurred to me that the one thing that's been missing, considering she was convicted years ago, is nobody's done a documentary on this.
There is a Netflix one that was done in like 2021, but it might have been like either probably before anything really took place with her.
Is it because they don't have access to like talking to her? Is that what it is? Like maybe
I don't think so, because I've been thinking about. I mean, certainly in the UK, we've seen a massive spike in public interest over. There was, I don't know if it reached the States, but we had a massive scandal with our post office here, where basically several postmasters, people who ran post offices, who'd worked for the post office for years, were charged with fraud after a new computer system had been implemented. And basically the post office, which at that time was part of the government and is now private, they were saying, no, there's nothing wrong with the computers. These people are genuinely stealing from us. And hundreds of people who ran little post offices all across the UK were charged. Some committed suicide. Some, it just ruined their lives. And a couple of people started fighting back. And then more and more of these post office workers started fighting back. And eventually they discovered that not only were the computer systems wrong, but that Fujitsu Siemens, who made the computer systems, knew they were wrong, and the post office bosses knew they were wrong. And it's been a news story for decades, and it's now being called the greatest miscarriage of justice in UK history. But it only really caught... yeah. It only really caught fire when there was a documentary and a drama series with Toby Jones. That's when it really sort of hit the public attention. And we have another situation where basically government legislation now is dictated by that Netflix series about the kid that killed someone.
Yeah, what was the name of that one?
I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
You talking about Adolescence?
Yes.
Yeah.
Adolescence.
Yeah, I think it was a rumor that it was about a real case. I think it was intended to be fictional, but it coincided with
No, it's entirely fictional, and what people have done is they've tried to map it onto real cases. But
yeah.
I mean, because it's based on a general thing that could and almost certainly will happen. It's pretty easy to, if you're a bad faith conservative who doesn't want people to think about how the manosphere is fucking, toxic and makes little violent monster boys, then yeah, you'll find something to attach to it.
Well, the worst comment I saw about it, just after I think like episode 1 or 2 had come out, was that some idiot online said something like, I think the twist is going to be the kid didn't do it and it was actually the black kid that did it. And I just thought, oh my God, this is where we are now. Yeah. Yeah, totally. So yeah, I'm surprised there's not been a documentary series, but then I'm wondering, is there not a documentary because of who's implicated in that documentary? Are no US media institutions willing to put together something that has all the clips of Trump that we're now seeing? Because I think if put together in a package, like an hour and a half long package of exactly what she did, exactly what Epstein did, and how close they're connected to the current president, I think that's the only thing that's going to make an impact with the majority of Americans.
I think it would have to be a documentary made outside of the United States at this point. I don't think anybody in the US would touch it. It would have to be somebody in Canada or the UK probably to do it.
I mean, what do you think would happen though? Like,
I think they would probably have trouble getting it on any of the US based streaming sites. They'd probably have to put it up independently on its own website or something like that. I mean,
like, what would happen if there was some great documentary that just like really did a great job of exposing whatever? Like, what effect would it have?
I mean, like in terms of our government, I don't know if it would have any effect on like the people in our government, because they would just deny anything if it's not a documentary that comes from them. They're just going to say, oh, it's full of lies and everything. I think the bigger thing is, I talked about this with some friends the other day, and we were discussing like what we actually think is going on with the Epstein files. And it's all tinfoil hat stuff because nobody truly knows what it is. But I think the reason why we've had so much trouble with it, and all these guys like, Bongino and Patel and everybody that were wanting to unseal the documents and everything, is there must be, and I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but there must be like some names on that list that could make life harder for anybody that says who it is. Like, I'm not just talking about Trump. I mean, rich people with a lot of connections in the United States that could make things harder for them. That's the only thing that makes sense, because I don't think it's just names of politicians. Who gives a fuck which politician it is? You like expose them. Who cares? I think we're talking about people that are not bound by politics, people that have can make people disappear, essentially, is what people are worried about.
It could be, the figurehead of essentially a good chunk of some, sub economy or something like that.
Yeah,
even.
I think it's a series of names. I think it's a Rolodex for all the people that are as old as me. A Rolodex of names that all have connections, and I do think that some of that leads back to what happened to Epstein. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist person, but there's just too much here, legitimately too much here to ignore in the Epstein stuff. So.
This is not a conspiracy in the sense it's like in the conspiracy theory in the sense that some kind of crazy thing that with no evidence or whatever. There's mountains of evidence. That's literally what people are demanding to see. When we talk about the Epstein files, it's not just like a little file folder with some names or whatever. It's like there's been multiple investigations in this fucking guy. You know what I mean? Like it's at least 6, I think, something like that, including one from the Southern District of New York. There's a Fed case. There's multiple, and they've got fucking thousands of documents on this shit. And
just for a little I guess to Eric's point, right? Like a lot of what in America, a lot of what the Republicans and Democrats, both parties, do to a pretty significant extent is they just kind of craft policy and rhetoric based on what their donors want. And I don't see why their stance on the Epstein stuff should be any different. Probably some of the donors don't want that stuff out there.
Yeah.
I think,
I will
like
say,
Eric said, though, I think it goes a little bit beyond that even. It's not just the donors, it's the silent billionaires that we don't ever hear about. We've always talked about how these right wingers with big social media platforms have backers and nobody knows or nobody can know who they are. But if those are the people that are also named on the Epstein list, of course they're going to shut people like Bongino and Patel out, because they know that they will eventually leave government. And what happens then?
Right.
Well, let's think about it a little bit. We know Benny Johnson recently seems to have gained fucking couple million subs in a short amount of time, despite not having the views to support that. We know that Benny Johnson has in the past. He was part of Tenet, and he accepted money from Kremlin funds via RT operations going on here or in Canada, I guess. And that he's completely willing to just say nonsense, if he's paid well. Right. Or I imagine not say certain things. Right. So he is one of the ones who's been kind of trying to massage the whole thing, and as Maxwell being a victim. That says a little bit right there. Don't know what. I don't know why. I don't know. And it's curious because I don't think Nerdrotic or any of these guys have talked about this at all, right?
I think Geeks Jeremy on his other channel has tried to not talk about it while talking. I
kind of want to look at that right now. Actually, I want to see what kind of tactic he's been taking there.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's sort of trying to talk about the craziness while also glazing Trump, which is such a bizarre. I don't know how you can sit on that particular fence.
Okay, so.
Before we move on, again, it took me a second to look this up. So do you guys remember when Kevin Spacey got outed as a predator?
Mm-hmm.
He did this really weird thing where he did, I think it was like an Instagram live where he ostensibly the purpose of it was he was responding to the allegations, but he did it in his House of Cards character, as the character from the show. And he had this mug, and people were trying to source this to figure out where it was from. It's had a date on it and a certain design. And the text on it, I looked it up. I finally found the picture of it. It says, "Throughout all my life and with all my heart, I shall strive to be worthy of your trust, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II." And what's interesting about that is I believe Kevin Spacey is in the Black Book, and I believe Prince Andrew is also implicated in the Epstein stuff. And just finding out about that years and years ago was one of those things that kind of drove me a little insane for a while, because I was like, wait a minute. So the British royal family is heavily implicated in that stuff as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of powerful people, no one would want to piss off.
Well, I don't think that's a good point. I don't think it's just U.S. People as well. I think that it just seems like it would be easier in the U.S. for them to manipulate U.S. like politicians and things like that. But I do think the list is probably a worldwide net of people. Like that's what I think is going on. And look, there's also theories that it would destabilize some of the world's governments because some of those names are people in power in other countries, and that would destabilize their countries, and that would make things difficult for the U.S. because supposedly Trump and other people are friends with these guys. Again, this is all speculation, but I feel like the information being kept secret to this degree it can only be but so many reasons why. And it's either political pressure, money, whatever it is. There's a combination of things because we're talking about people at the highest levels, people with access to things that the average person doesn't have access to. So,
you guys might be surprised that a few days ago, 5 days ago, on his, this is interesting, by the way, he's got D-Day Cobra and D-Day Cobra 2. D-Day Cobra, which is what I went to first, assuming that that's his politics channel, right? It's got 60 something thousand subscribers.
Yeah.
He hasn't posted there in 4 months.
Yes, there's another D-Day Cobra channel.
Right. D-Day Cobra 2, which has 16,000 subscribers. So that is a choice. You make a very specific choice when you go, I'm not going to post to my 60,000 sub channel. I'm going to post to my 16,000 sub channel.
And that's probably because the writing's on the wall. People aren't clicking. And he's like, well, I'll just start another channel and build it from the ground up because it does work. Like you get a boost there at the beginning from YouTube by being a new channel. But I mean, maybe the problem is him. I don't think maybe it's the channel. Maybe the problem is him. I don't know.
5 days ago, he has a post about the Epstein stuff. I guess that's what it was. See. No, it's not about the Epstein, but it's over. He says it's over. It is over for Hillary.
Nothing's going to happen with that. Like none of that stuff is going to do anything. It's like all these different deflections and distractions they have aren't going to do anything. As a matter of fact, Tulsi Gabbard did an interview, maybe it was earlier today, where she was called out saying, why are you going after Obama and all this stuff? It's not going to mean anything. She's like, it's the principle of it. And it's like, no, it's literally a distraction. Nothing's going to happen with this. Philip was saying, why make 2 different channels? Geeks and Gamers has always had multiple channels. I mean, Ryan Cannell is just an extension of Geeks and Gamers as well. It's all a connected
part of it for a long time. And they had one for parks channels. Like it was just, park hopping or whatever it was. They had multiple channels for different avenues of like, fan and recreation entertainment stuff. Each one of those, even on like the parks one, they wouldn't mention anything public political or anything usually, but every one of those videos would link directly to Geeks and Gamers. So it was like a big, wide net they're casting out there to try and pull people in.
Yeah, I did have a video over the weekend where I talked about like the fandom pipeline. I like quite literally went through everything we've known and talked about over the years and broke it down and said like, these are all gateway channels. This is like, you have the entry level folks, the ones that kind of rope you in with fandom content. And then they process that into like slightly more conspiratorial things. And then the end goal is to end up in front of like Matt Walsh and channels like that. That's like the end goal for all of it. So yeah, it's so surprising. Geeks and Gamers is literally, they have all the stages. Like they have the entry level stuff, the mid-level stuff, and the end game stuff. They have all the stages of radicalization on their channel. So, or in their network, I should say. The backseater.
Yeah, just real quick. This will be the only time we talk about this guy, but like, Jesus, this is a one-sided rivalry going on with us, with Anthony Gramuglia, with Pillar, with everybody. This guy has made multiple videos on everybody, just like desperate for attention. He did have a debate with Bob Chaos, which is how I figured out. Okay, this guy is kind of fucking not okay. This is a guy, if you remember, Organized Chaos debated him, and he said that was it Thor: Love and Thunder needed to make $1.3 billion to break even.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like a real number,
right? And Bob's just like, well, where are you getting that? He's like, it's just true, But here he is. I guess he's really been watching a lot of Ant, and Ant's been growing, and I guess this just really pisses him off or turns him on. You'd be the judge here.
Fuck it, I'm gonna show what I'm gonna do to Ant if I ever see him on the street. Hold up.
He always has to make irrelevant points. Literally every single video has to include stuff that is simply not truly relevant to what he's saying. This is actually one of his best videos about that, because at least all of his points could somehow possibly have some sort of faint relevance, even though it's extremely tiny. Most of his videos doesn't even have that, just irrelevant stuff.
Who is speaking right now?
Yeah,
who is this like
15-year-old
child?
Because he says how much he doesn't care.
Yeah, it is. It's concerning actually, because it does sound like a child, and there was some stuff with a backseater not long ago that was posted, said publicly, apparently without shame. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, Chris, his Twitter account got suspended because he was like talking about threats and stuff like that. So yeah, there goes
content warning for the final tweet there.
Yeah, this is.
Why should I care if they get graped? Why? Why should he care? I don't know, because maybe that's like your entire argument for why you hate gay and trans people.
Right.
Now we really need to release the Epstein list.
Right. Backseater. It's just backseater. It's
I mean, now I know what the name
means.
The
backseat of the fucking.
Yeah, now I know what the name means. But no, like straight up, this is their shit. Like, how can you stand for all of the stuff that you've done to the queer community and they'd be like, oh yeah, but it's like, who cares about kids? Hasn't that? I guarantee I could go back through some of his comments, because he's left comments on my videos where he talks about like protect the children and stuff. So how can you say that and then this is your response to this?
It's notable to me that like the only people that are typically willing to like step up and defend, because that's how he came into focus, was he wanted to defend like Nerdrotic or whatever, and you know what I mean. The only people that will ever do that are often, I mean, they're either bad faith, like what was that, the Grey Poupon guy, or they're fucking just insane.
I mean, why is this? Like why is this their final form every time? Like, why is it like this is their transformation every time? Their most powerful version ends up being this, like some really awful thing. Like,
yeah, like you reminded me of the kid that tried to stick the remote up his butt. Yeah. You guys remember that one?
I mean, it's so the low IQ shit that I have to deal with. Like, there's another one, Beta Bird, that is also fucking crazy as well, that just can't stop. Like,
the most ardent, like vocal fucking defenders of these guys are little fucking like antisocial, like probably should be on a watch list. You know what I mean?
The projection is real. That, like, the funny thing is, they've said stuff about me, and I'm like, okay, well, show me what you got. If you think that I'm doing all this stuff, show me what you got, right? Never anything. They never have anything. So they're just saying stuff. And then when you give them irrefutable things, like irrefutable evidence in front of their face, they're just like, oh, I don't care, whatever.
Or they just do stuff like this right here.
I'm going to show what I'm going to do to Ant if I ever see him on the street. Hold up.
I'm getting forget. I'm getting forget. Yeah, I'm a freaky crazy. Get that freaky on. Get that freaky get.
Yeah.
He's not even coordinated in his own fantasy.
No, I mean, he's like, it is a fantasy, and it is also just like, oh, so you've literally never like punched a person before, because that's not good.
You know, the other thing, sorry, go ahead.
This is the pipeline, though, isn't it? This is how they work. This is what gets people hooked. It's appealing to people's basest emotions, the sort of things that normally you either control or you sort of wheedle out of you when you become like a teenager, when you go through puberty.
Look, you know, this is where I will apply, you know, not to these individuals, but like generally a bit of empathy here. There are so many fucking autistic dudes that are in these people's audiences. Because like I said earlier, you know, it's very easy to find yourself feeling alienated, not able to kind of like get yourself into a social situation because you're, you know, autism, that's just what it is. And to varying degrees. It can be difficult to find your people. It can be difficult to figure out how to navigate even just opening a conversation and figuring out who you should be friends with and stuff like that. And then the internet creates the anonymity, and you end up just, you know, you're feeling dejected, you're feeling like you're alienated, and the society is what's wrong. It can't be you kind of thing, because that would require like actual, you know, introspection and maybe some growth. So you're just blaming everybody else that people are telling you to blame, Nerdrotic and whatnot. And it pisses me off because there's so many fucking just autistic people who have probably their lives are just gonna be super miserable, you know.
I just want to say Chris made a good point in the chat. Why did he take his shirt off?
Why
was bro shirtless? Can we examine that for a second? Did it help?
it's more masculine actually. It seems counterintuitive, but it's very masculine to be less clothed whenever you're engaging with a male rival. Apparently, Jesus Christ, it's a male version of Karenry. Yeah,
that's so true. A ton of this like anti-woke stuff is just Karen behavior for men.
This is the problem I got though. I so desperately want to make fun of him, every aspect of him, but my sort of natural instinct to empathy is like he's been failed by everybody in his life.
Right.
And,
yeah.
and now his heroes are failing him by turning him into a psychopath.
But you have to be like, and I think that is maybe why it pisses me off, because a lot of, like we were saying, a lot of these people know that they kind of have shitty views on some level. And he probably does too, maybe, but like the clear lack of social, comprehension at all just makes him feel like it's okay to just put his face on the internet, say all this shit, and yeah.
So I was just reminded, I was thinking about the shirtless thing. I was just reminded of that Last Jedi scene with Kylo Ren where he's shirtless.
Oh God, I'm sure that's what he's going for too. Yeah. Guy had a 2008 Seth Rogen body. Anyway.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, if say for example, I did that and I said, "Oh, this is what I'm going to do to every homophobe in my comment section." Can you imagine what the reaction to that would be? You know what I mean? Like, crash out central, lost their mind, completely unhinged, emotional like outburst, blah blah blah, all this other stuff. Yeah. But for them, it just seems like it's like this is normal. Well, I just want to when I want to assault somebody, that's a normal. That's
to be
normal
fair,
behavior.
To be fair, yeah, I would be making those exact thumbnails of this dude if he had more than like 100 views on his videos.
maybe. But the point is that this guy is a part of that community, though. He's that like I don't remember. Was Cherry? Did you say something about radicalization or whatever earlier?
Oh yeah, that was like something that that one commenter said about I only think people are bigoted because I've been radicalized.
Right. Like this is an example of a viewer of that content creating a channel and then going down the pipeline of that. Like this is we're watching it happen in real time. So
yep.
Cobra says he wants Trump 2028.
Jeez.
How can you be American and say that? Like I don't understand.
I'm gonna take a look at this channel because it's nuts, man. This is nuts. Yeah. Talking about burn bags. He's watching Benny Johnson. Hey, look at that. Alex Stein, who's a Blaze Media plant. Woke media attacks Sydney Sweeney. What? We're still victims even though we won? How is this possible? Tucker Carlson is now an enemy of them, so that's fun.
Is he really repping Nick Fuentes? That's
crazy.
He's
doing that for sure.
Well, Nick Fuentes also is anti-Trump, so I don't understand. Have you seen that? He's really become like anti-Trump. Like,
but he's also pro whiny, white dude. So
but I can't really imagine why they would like. I'll be honest. I think Nick has been harder on Trump than Tucker has in the clips that I've seen. That's a little crazy.
A little bit.
But the fact that Nick and Tucker are both against Trump should be a big red flag for a lot of people that followed them down that pipeline.
I mean, he posted this, so
You know what I don't understand is how are you supporting someone that has not even made an official position on this? Like Sydney hasn't said anything about it. Like I'm not defending her at all. I'm just saying, did she ask them for support?
She apparently registered as Republican at one point.
I did see that. But is that enough for them to be like, yeah, we're throwing all our support behind her? Or is it because she's goon bait for them?
I think both.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, she's been goon bait for them since she appeared on SNL, so they've loved that side of her. But now they find out that she was registered as a Republican. Like, what was it when she was like 18?
Yeah,
which means
it was 20.
Her known right-wing conservative family might have maybe had something to do with that, because until she, I mean, I'm not going to defend her either, but until she has made a statement on it, and to be honest, from her actions, I mean, she was in that Euphoria show, and her next project is playing a a lesbian boxer.
Right.
So,
I mean, they made that movie where she was a nun that's basically designed to trigger conservative,
Yeah, I mean, I think phenotypically she's appealing to them, but I think that's where it ends. Like, I think they find her attractive and they can objectify her and stuff. I think that's where it ends, though. I think it's all surface level. She hasn't said anything that's triggered any of my alarms, and yes, her family is probably very conservative. Again, I'm not defending her. I'm just saying she's not done anything other than this American Eagle ad that even makes me question.
Here's what tips me into thinking that she's kind of grifting them a little bit is in May 30th, you might not remember, she started selling soap that contains her actual bathwater in it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that makes me think, she's maybe a little bit more savvy than anybody's really giving her credit for. You know what I mean? Like, that's I don't know.
Yeah, and Go Party Time here talks about Sydney hanging out with Hunter Schafer. So, I mean,
yeah, well, they were both on Euphoria, right?
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those things where I don't want to jump in front of all of this and be like, yeah, fuck it, she's not awful, whatever, because then tomorrow she could be awful. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to do that. But she's not done anything to make me think that she's purposely doing this stuff, which could still be bad. But if American Eagle set her up for this and she's just like, I've already been paid for the ad, I'm not going to do anything about it, because she hasn't said anything about this.
I actually I just hit you guys with the plug in the DM in the group chat, but it's from US Magazine. There's a quote in here that says, Sydney thinks this whole thing has been blown out of proportion, a source exclusively tells US Weekly.
Okay, so she did speak out. Okay, cool.
She's focusing her energy on work, including being back on set with her Euphoria family. Production on the long-awaited third season of the HBO show, in which Sweeney plays popular high schooler Cassie Howard, began earlier this year. So she's on set probably all the time right now. So I mean, the American Eagle public comment that I saw seemed very disingenuous.
Yeah.
There might be, of course, some conservatives working at American Eagle. I wouldn't assume that about her.
Well, yeah, I read it like this: Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Is and always has been about the genes, her story. Like.
Well, look, the only thing I could say for them to get ahead of this, and this would be like a 1-2 punch for them, because they're getting hit by people that are like, this ad is insensitive or whatever, and the conservatives are backing them up, is if they have a person of color like in the next ad and it says she has great genes, and it's some celebrity, black celebrity, someone diverse, a gay celebrity, something like that. If they do that, then that would soften the blow of like the backlash they're getting, but then conservatives would be like, we fucking defended these people and now they're stabbing us in the back. They're bending the knee for the woke mob. You know what I mean?
I want to draw attention to the inherent paradox of the whole thing, which is that she has great genes. If the implication is she has great genetics, then you buying their fucking genes isn't going to make you hot, because that's she's got that shit, right?
That's a good point. That is a really good point. Yeah,
like their marketing is based on, it's just inherently nonsensical. Really, I don't think I don't know. It's obviously been taken way too seriously and blown up. But yeah,
if American Eagle as a company aren't particularly politically affiliated one way or the other, then I would do exactly what Eric said next, or even go as far and have a trans woman model there next.
Yeah. Have Hunter Schafer
that way, all of the Republicans who have rushed out to buy American Eagle jeans in order to
now have to burn them on camera, Ryan.
Now have to burn them, and they get all the liberal audience, and they can say, "See, we told you this wasn't what you thought it was," and they double dip then.
And then they do their Confederate flag collection next year, and then everybody goes back to it. So. American Eagle does have terrible clothes sketching. Right. That's why I was like, why are people still wearing American Eagle? It's the most fucking basic milquetoast brand in the world. It's so bad.
American Eagle is what your parents buy you from the mall.
Yeah, that's what I remember. When I worked at the mall, people wore American Eagle because we worked at the fucking mall. I don't see like it like working all the clubs I work, all the events I go to. I can tell you right now, I have not seen an American Eagle shirt in a decade. So I don't know. It's like, or do people still wear that? Somebody in my comments was like, yeah, it's still really popular. I'm like, where? Who's wearing it? Maybe in the whitest white area of the country that maybe they're wearing it. I don't know.
People with a bad case of suburbanitis.
Right.
Were they a big brand in the 80s?
I mean, I feel like I knew. I only was.
I knew about them in the 90s.
Yeah, 90s and 2000s. They were a mall brand that I never shopped at, essentially, and then that was it.
Well, even Flo, the problem is if the primary audience are already like white people in the middle of the country, then their ad campaign should focus on the market they don't have. So it doesn't make sense to pay a bunch of money for Sydney Sweeney to advertise to the group that's already buying your stuff. From an advertising perspective, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, what is it? Steak and Shake doing dog whistly shit. Like,
she needs to do an ad for Jinkos, man. That'd be the shit. You know,
100%.
42-inch Jinkos. Yeah.
I go around here. I have a lot of where I live at is a resort area, so there's a lot of like actual shops where you can buy like one-off stuff and everything. They have great jeans in there, like great denim, great different colors, different textures, all that stuff. You go in there, you get it for the same price you get American Eagle. It's like maybe a limited run or something. American Eagle to me is like a Temu store, essentially.
Yeah.
You know what they should
shirts.
do?
Bring back Big Johnson shirts.
They should, if conservatives decide to make Trump a dictator for life, they should announce it with a Burger King collab, because he would be the Burger King.
Oh, yeah.
They should have him wear the little crown.
That's true. There's actually an AI video of him dancing on the rooftop of the White House or something. And
it's not AI.
That's real.
Oh God,
is it real?
It's where he's walking on. He's just kind of walking.
He had a little stroll on top of the White House.
No, but there's a video of him dancing to YMCA that I think is AI.
Oh, right.
I think that was AI.
I think there is a real Trump YMCA video from a long time ago, but I don't think it's the White House one.
Yeah, this one is the one of him where he was walking on the roof, but it has him dancing to the YMCA, and I think that was the AI portion of it. It was funny, but I looked at it and I was like, I'm not going to share that because that looks like AI to me. I think it is AI, but I could be wrong.
Speaking of the South Park PSA that we thought might be AI, turns out it's not. They did get a guy.
No.
And
yeah, they did. Yeah, there's pictures of them filming it. Yeah.
They filmed a guy in the desert because I think it's Trey Parker. There's a shot of him playing the penis.
Yeah. And the only AI they used was to assist on making the face look like Trump, but the rest of it is all like actual stuff.
Well, that would explain why the hands and proportions, despite being, what they are, seemingly were.
By the way, it's so funny that the government called them irrelevant, and then yesterday ICE uploaded a South Park meme of them like catching people, and South Park responded, they're like, I thought we were irrelevant. Why are you using us as your
when you say that something's irrelevant from the White House official account, you're kind of just defeating your own point. I feel like. I did want to draw people's attention to something awesome that you should check out, especially if you're a fan of stand-up comedy, and especially if you are a fan of comedy and you fucking hate how the Rogan people are all over the place. Mark Maron has a new special out on HBO. Here is a bit from that.
We're alive today. He'd probably appear on Theo Vaughn's podcast. And Theo would be like, see, y'all did a lot of meth, right? I mean, all the Nazis were all fucked up on meth, right, Hitler? That shit'll make you crazy, dog. I did some meth once. I was up for 3 days, and then I ate a live bird. No shit, Hitler, a live bird, bro. Hey, Hitler, you probably didn't even hate the Jews. That was just the meth making you crazy, dog. Hey, Hitler. Do you want to apologize to all the Jews right now on my show? No? I get it.
And that's just one bit. It's fucking hilarious.
The tone is dead on.
Yeah. Good impression. Yeah, really, really good. Mark Maron is underrated. I feel like the world would be a better place if he was in the position Joe Rogan's in. I'd say that.
Well, it's kind of interesting. A lot of the large conservative podcasts are now losing out to the more progressive podcasts. So,
almost Ben Johnson needed to buy a bunch of subs, right?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, like if you look at the rankings, like on Apple Podcasts and stuff like that, it's very clear that Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, these guys or whatever, they're getting slowly edged out because not in the way they want to, but they're getting edged out of the podcast list because a lot of the more liberal media stuff is coming along and bumping them down. So There we go. You have a Discord server. It's a little bit more spicy though. I allow a lot more than most servers would allow, but when I say that, I mean like people that want to come in and speak their mind. You can do that a little bit. It's not true free speech. We don't play that in my Discord server. If you're doing dumb shit, you go out the dumb door. But yeah, come over. I've got a debate server going up. It's going to be a voice server. There's going to be a specific role for that. So you can come in and you can ask to debate about something, and then I will give you that role and then give you a time to join me on that channel. And then we can do that over a voice. So I can control the conversation a little bit better. Yeah, it's going to start probably sometime in the middle of August. So hopefully we'll have some people coming on and trying to challenge me because I'm really good at what I do. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we'll test that out. And I think, Dane, you said you'd like to see how that goes. So maybe we could do something like that here on the Shillcast or something along those lines. So yeah.
I wanted to mention, you guys were talking about there's like liberal podcasts that are starting to eclipse the more like conservative, like shithead podcasts. I saw one recently go kind of viral where it was and I think these ladies were on The View. They're the I Had It podcast ladies.
Oh yeah, the older ladies. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, Jennifer Welch and Angie Sullivan. They've got almost 1 million, just even on YouTube, they've got almost 1 million subs. And they're these two like boomer liberal white women. I don't actually know if they're boomers or Xers, but I watched one of their episodes and they were like almost like Fed posting about like the Democrats. You've got like liberal moms
yeah, no, they're great. And the good thing about them is that they say it in a way that speaks to the community that would watch that kind of content, which I think is really good. They don't make it too complicated, so I think that's really cool. They got great clips
I love
too.
them. They're great.
Yeah.
So as the stream title suggests, I had a couple of things regarding and they kind of overlap a little bit. Critical Drinker and Mauler, EFAP, whatever. I mean, well, it's just Mauler, right? Like really that's what it is. And then the thing's called EFAP, but it's just everybody knows it's really just Mauler and then his hangers on, right? Seems like
yeah.
None of them have really managed to break out on their own.
I mean, they're never invited onto Friday. No, I guess I've seen Rags on Friday Night Tights before, but yeah, the other ones I don't think so.
I wonder if that's because on EFAP he tempers their most abhorrent views. He's saying watches them.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we talked about the Critical Drinker already and how he's how can he possibly want superhero movies to be over, because that would be bad business for him. But he's actually got a little bit of a backlash happening currently against him, which is curious to see. Let me find that shit. Yeah. There is a YouTuber by the name of Ranting for Vengeance who apparently his audience thinks that Critical Drinkers, he's just not fucking, extreme enough for them.
Yeah.
And so we've got here some choice comments about Critical Drinker after hearing what Drinker said about this movie, and then was talking about Fantastic Four or Superman. Right. I'm thinking the Drinker is sold out.
Oh no!
Definitely paid off.
Nobody
watches Critical Drinker anymore.
Nobody. I love the hyperbolic nature of that.
I like the Kratos avatar there.
Yeah,
that really makes it for me.
In the Christopher Judge voice. Nobody.
I love how these guys have to come up with like a reason why, like, there's views on these videos, so people saying things that we think are really stupid and woke, right? Like, how are their views on this? It must be bots or sheep. That's it. They have to narrow it down, and I guess we do that too, to a degree.
But I mean, the guy's got a point here. There are masses of sheep, but like these guys are some of them. These are the sheep. They're the guys.
They don't. Yeah, it's the sheep. It's the sheep not recognizing the other sheep. They're looking around. They don't see them. Where are the other sheep at? Who are the sheep?
How many like rakes do these guys have to step on in terms of following these grifter content creators? Like, at what point do you go, okay, well, I've stopped watching Critical Drinker, I've stopped watching like Geeks and Gamers, I've stopped watching Eric July. Like, how many? Just How many times do you have to kick yourself in the nuts? Stop
it's kind of like I've stopped doing cocaine, I've stopped doing meth, I've stopped doing heroin. Now I'm just doing bath salts, and bath salts are the shit, you know.
To counter the argument that the drink has sold out, no, he hasn't. He would sell out in a second if any of the major studios paid him to do what he wants to do, which is make his subpar action films. He'd be singing their praises all day long. If Disney came to him and said, "We want to do a 25 episode series about Ryan Drake," he would sell out immediately. He would scrub all of his old videos.
I actually think all of these guys would do that. I think all of them would do that.
Well, yeah, look at Nerdrotic. Desperate to be Access Media while complaining that everybody else is Access Media.
Wow.
Dropped it on. And that is a segue into another. So you notice there's two types of Critical Drinker fans. That's kind of hyperbole. I just thought it would be fun to say that. I was going to say, here's one. This is one type of Critical Drinker fan. And the other would be, well, I'll show you in a minute. But Rainbow Cash, booze money. Okay. Disney probably paid him like Amazon paid him for Fallout. It's crazy that like he can't. It's not that he just can't have a different opinion. Otherwise, there's some kind of fucking corruptive influence happening.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like I've already established in my videos. At least I've said this before. It's okay to change your mind or to have a different opinion. You just need to be but transparent about it. You know what I mean?
He created these people. That's why they like this.
Yeah. No, you're right. This is the monster you made. It's literally your monster now.
You know what? This just clicked for me. But like when we call these guys grifters, we always get a lot of comments where it's like, "Oh, you say that they're grifters just because you disagree with them or whatever." When like the point is that like there's a certain low effort perspective that you can spam to social media to get a few easy views here and there.
Yeah.
And depending on your audience and depending on how you spin it and depending on what your social media presence is, you can get a lot of AdSense off of that stuff depending on the channel. And I just think it's interesting that like, you know, when we point that out, which is verifiable, like anybody with a YouTube account knows like how the monetization thing works. If you're monetized, like, you know what AdSense is. It's not a mystery, you know, but like, then like these guys will just turn around and when they disagree, they'll call somebody a grifter. But it's like some conspiracy about like Kathleen Kennedy put a handful of money like down my shirt and now I have to say that the Acolyte is good or something.
Right. Yeah.
I completely blame their lack of knowledge on classic films, because if you watch The Music Man, the first half of that tells you what a grifter is. Harold Hill tells the people exactly what they want to hear, fearmongers over the thing for no reason other than he's trying to sell them another thing. I mean, that's the blueprint that these grifters still use. You fearmonger, you point out who the real enemy is, the enemy you want it to be, and then you get them believing exactly what you want them to believe. And then if you have a change of heart, they throw you under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They have a lot of these guys just have basically just white privilege and probably, you know, to them that they think that's just makes them I don't know, unable to be influenced negatively or against their will or whatever. So they don't realize that the parasocial effect of watching YouTube videos. There's studies have done on this. It's a reason why like Spotify is now incorporating videos on their fucking platform. Because video over anything else allows people, if you're not aware of it, if you're not mindful and cautious of it, you connect more because you're literally a person's talking to you. They're telling you the thing you want to hear. Right. And it can create a parasocial effect that, grifters have used, you know, varying degrees of success. There's this post that I've had it in my possession for a while. I don't think we looked at it whenever it first came across me, but this is in the Critical Drinkers subreddit still.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
From the Wolfenstein 2 game, this picture here. Game is supposed to depict a dystopic nightmare future. Streets are clean, buildings are pretty, crime is low.
Yeah, and there's Nazi flags everywhere.
Right.
I mean, like you're leaving out a very important detail. Yeah,
But I mean, people notice it. The people in here notice it. Progressives are quivering in disgust and terror right now, and they don't know why.
They literally kill his mother because she's Jewish. Like in the game, it's canon to New Colossus.
I actually think the weird thing also is I don't think they understand that no one has freedom under that. Like, it's not that it looks nice superficially. Like, you literally don't have any freedom. I don't know why they don't get that. Just because you're white doesn't mean you're not being oppressed by the government.
No, you don't have freedom because the government is forcing you to go out and keep the streets clean.
Yeah. I mean, there's just layers to this where it's like you do understand that even if you're a white person in that scenario, you are still going to be oppressed by the government.
It's just like, what's his name, Connor from the Jubilee thing, where he's like, well, I wouldn't be part of the group that the authoritarian would kill. It's like, how do you know that? Like, what if
they don't discriminate against that? Like, they don't discriminate.
That authoritarian doesn't like birthing hips on men, then he's fucked. You know,
what if the authoritarian doesn't like the way you smile? Bye bye, you're gone.
I just want to point out this scene is from the level where BJ goes to work with Super Spesh to get. He's looking at like the blueprints to infiltrate a Nazi facility. He knows Super Spesh from earlier in the game where he goes to, I believe, New York, which has been nuked. Those streets are very dirty. They're radioactive.
They would love that.
It's like he's climbing over like radioactive like skeletons and sewage water in the beginning of that level. Like it's the idea that like America would be clean under the Nazis is crazy. It's crazy. It's not like the fantasy is of course very fascistic and like these people would love a slave plantation if the slaves kept it clean for them. Right. But like it's you know, it's not even true, you know?
And again, these idiots are so media illiterate. I mean, watch something like The Time Machine, where the perfect utopian future means that all the people are idiots and the underground dwellers eat them every now and again. That's the subtext is, if you want a utopia where everything is clean and pretty, it means some of you, every now and again at random, are going to get eaten.
I just want to point out again that this is still posted under the Critical Drinkers subreddit. Not that he runs it. I'm not saying that. I don't know. But he certainly must have some influence over it, right? If he wanted it gone, he'd probably make it gone. But
well, I mean, I would think that he would probably have mods that should be removing stuff like this if it's a sub that he
runs. It went against the community's general
exactly. Yeah. No, you're right. But I mean, I'm saying like I feel like he would have people there that are supposed to do that. I would guess.
So yeah, there's more, man, and like it's ask the Philippines why they have no homeless.
I also want to point out that there is, and I need to probably do a deeper dive into this one, but there's been articles about how certain sites have bots on them, like how many bots are present. I don't know that every single person responding to this is a real person. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, not that it makes it any better. It's still like, it still promotes the post, but like, how many of these are people that really feel this way, and how many are people that are just normalizing it through bot commands? You know what I mean?
This is why I call liberals evil above all else. You do not bring misery on every ordinary person. Ordinary, so many weighted words in this shit. Yeah. Person in your society, only to blame it on people you brought in. The next step is making sure everyone is equally poor and dependent. I hear it was a big point why in Soviet Russia, most of them were quite happy living below the poorest people in the poorest European countries. They saw that everyone else is... What?
No, Soviet Russia had the same fascistic tendencies. People lived under the boot. That's why they were, quote...
Is this guy implying that, like, the Soviet peasants enjoyed, like, the famine?
Why not? Doesn't the famine rave? Come on to the famine rave. Like, let's not eat and dance all night. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?
To be fair, there's a couple people in here pushing back, and it's like, dude, you're not in the right community, man. You just need to get out of there at that point.
Yeah, like if your community is posting this is not the place to be.
But to what you were saying about bots, Eric, I saw an article just today that says apparently the internet has reached tipping point where more than 50% of interactions on the internet are now with bots.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So it renders the internet irrelevant as soon as he gets to, I think, 50%, because it means
you don't know what's true and what's not at that point.
Yeah,
true. But I mean, what are the who's making the bots, who's buying them or whatever, who's programming them, what's the goal of the bots, right?
That's the big question, right? That's the one. Probably the people in the Epstein files, if I had to guess. It's all connected. It's all connected together.
I saw another thing. I don't know if I can't remember where I saw it, but like 70% of Twitter is now bots.
Yeah.
Which is just insane.
I literally don't even on Twitter now. I have gone through and I only follow accounts that actually post things that I want news on so I can bookmark it. Outside of that, and I don't even go outside of my following page. Like there's a For You and a following tab. I don't even go outside of my following page anymore. It is like the worst shit, which is why Melanie Mack's crash out about Twitter is so funny.
She let bots cancel her off of Twitter.
Yeah, she got canceled on Twitter by bots. That's pretty fucking funny.
That's fucking great. But I mean, just in line with all the butter consumption, I guess.
I mean, I don't know if Blue Sky or Threads is any better anymore. I know Threads has kind of relaxed their restrictions, so people are getting kind of chuddy on Threads now. I haven't really seen too much on Blue Sky, but
I haven't seen it
Blue
on Blue
Sky.
Sky.
Pretty roundly rejected their efforts a while back, so I'm sure they went and like, we'll do Threads instead.
It's also Blue Sky is structured in a way that makes it harder to like bait engagement because like once somebody blocks you, it's like over.
Yep.
So like, and then people under the post can't see it either. So like, if people get mad enough at you, people will just kind of like leave you alone.
Yeah. When I first saw that, I was a little bit annoyed by it, but then I thought, no, that makes sense because by not showing the blocked message, you can't go over there and interact with it, which means that message doesn't get artificially amplified in the algorithm. So it's a pretty genius way of reducing that sort of fake outrage or outrage mining.
I'm appreciating the messages in chat from Squint God.
I know.
I would watch that Jesus Christ versus Trump.
I know. I saw that. Yeah.
The only Jubilee I ever watched, for sure.
Actually, did you see that Cenk is on a Jubilee now? It's like one populist versus 20 Republicans and Democrats.
Just we had Sam Cedar and then we had Mehdi, and I'm like, okay, cool. So at least we're getting some decent representation in that fucking shit
and then
show.
Cenk gets on,
and
there,
then
like,
Cenk gets on. I'm like, oh no, okay.
He's
well,
a bloviator.
Yeah, I think Mehdi's experience is going to put off most liberal figures who aren't there to get famous.
I actually think that if Jubilee wants to garner any sort of goodwill about what happened, they need to stop booking the same idiots on there. They need to get a different variety of people because I've noticed there's a lot of samey people in the lineups, and they need to get rid of some of those guys.
Yeah, there's
especially the fascists. Maybe get rid of the fascists.
They could just replace like half those guys and probably be all right.
Yeah,
like there were one or two of them that like, yeah, their politics were egregious, but they weren't like completely psychotic. So if you swapped him out,
didn't he say that he's like, I don't debate fascists because what are you debating at that point? You know what I mean? Like that, and you know what, he said that, and it kind of validated our opinion on this. I don't know if all of us hold that opinion. I mean, Dana and I have talked about it, but like I have a line on who I'm willing to talk with, and if you're somebody that's just into fascism, like we're not having a conversation. You know what I mean?
In order to have a conversation, there needs to be the basic foundational agreement that, for one, that you're going to be sincere, and two, that you believe that, I mean, basically, the you're not, I'll let you just define it how you want to, but yeah.
Jubilee, Crawling Chaos. I looked into Jubilee. I couldn't find anything that definitively connects them to stuff. But here's the thing that's kind of weird about Jubilee. We know who owns Jubilee. Like we know the person that actually runs Jubilee, but their employee list is almost 100% secret. Like we don't know who works for them.
Mehdi talked about how he had to sign an NDA before he did anything, and he can't talk about. He literally had to. He was talking with the Bulwark guy, and he was like, "I can't talk about that because that didn't happen in the cut that was uploaded." Basically,
oh yeah, he said there was a ton of other racist stuff where they were saying stuff to him that Jubilee edited out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that basically, if it's doesn't make it into the final edit, then he can't discuss it.
Right.
And I know Sam Cedar said that if he ever went back and did it again, he would sign the NDA after the recording, not before.
Right.
He wouldn't sign his release until it had already filmed.
And it's not just politics. It's like if you look at the other shit that they have these debates about, it's like one fucking fat woman versus 20 skinny women or some shit. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, well, they jumped into political stuff. Like before it was social commentary, and then they just kind of jumped into political stuff. And the really funny thing was, before like 2019, I think they were not for profit, so you could react to all their content. They didn't care. But then after 2019, they became for profit, and slowly over time, they started claiming every single clip that somebody uses. And that's one of the things where it's like this, the owner was like, we'll never do that. We're always going to be, open for everybody so that we can reach out to the world or whatever. Cause they talk about straight arrow news and being about like being transparency and everything. Literally, they're not. Like they claim everything. They block everything. They're completely not transparent. Like it's crazy.
Well, it makes sense then that they've gone for the more sensationalist approach, because if you're not being spread on the internet virally, then you have to do it with outrage. So
I think they'd be doing even better if they just let people react to their clips. Like it would help them even more. I don't know why they're so against that. You know what I mean?
That's what makes me think that there's some other, agenda at work there, right? Because they want to control their image. The same reason that like Eric July would, want to have you on his debates right now, and then he would only, he'd make you have shitty audio on his stream and stuff like that. I don't know. It just seems a little bit fashion inclined to me. Got no direct evidence of that, but so I think it's pretty clear that like the Ripiverse, and then Critical Drinker, what are they working on, like their 4th or 5th revision of Rogue Elements or some shit, and they are also talking about making more little short films in the same little thing. This is where losers go, right? Like it's for bitter, envious, kind of probably, if not, they might not be talentless, but they don't have the drive to work on their craft kind of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the new Black Vest VHS film, isn't it? It's the new Vanity Project area, except they build a fan base already, and then they release their shitty products.
So the highest funded horror film on Kickstarter was Chris Stuckman's Shelby Oaks, and that was before it got some interest from Mike Flanagan, who's quite a successful horror guy these days. And yeah, you guys remember a year ago or so, Chris Stuckman had announced that he, I think it was the Madam Web movie review or whatever, that he didn't want to do. And everybody's like, you need to do it. You need to do this video where you talk, shit on this movie that we've already watched 20 videos of people talking shit on this movie for some reason. And he was like, I'm not doing that anymore. He realized after starting making movies that it's how difficult it can be, and it might not have anything to do with the filmmakers or whatever. There's so many, plates in the air with that kind of thing that it's kind of shitty to just kind of crap on something, and he doesn't want to do that anymore. He wants to focus on what he likes and stuff like that. And that's a reasonable position. Of course, the internet doesn't like.
He could have been dishonest about it as well. He could have said, I'm not covering this movie because it's not a good movie, and everybody else is covering how bad it is. So I don't want to do that. It's not. Right. I want to do something different. But no, he was honest about it.
Yeah, and I don't agree with his opinion. I think you can still do movies and still be critical of art. I think that's a fair assessment. But it was his choice. Like he was upfront about why he was doing it, and you can either just accept it or not accept it. But I was like, okay, I don't agree with this. I think you should still critique movies because I really enjoyed how he reviewed films. He was like, he would, if it was bad, it was bad. If it was good, it was good. But I respect that he decided to make that stance because look where YouTube is now. Look where we are now. So in hindsight, I get why he did it. I still don't necessarily 100% agree with it, but I respect why he did it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same reason why I'm, once again, kind of taking a look at my content and how I want to continue, because I don't want to keep talking about chuds all the time. So yeah, anyway, sorry, I had a message just pop up and I got to kind of respond to this. So I don't know if you guys have something you want to talk about before I
I'll just say the same for my channel, is that I tried making reviews of bad films early on and I just didn't enjoy it. Me personally. I mean, it's different for him because he's been doing it for a long time and he has reviewed plenty of movies he didn't like. But I made the decision early on. I thought there's enough people talking about why movies are bad. Why not introduce people to stuff I like? Because I like talking about the stuff I like. And I think that's sort of Eric, with you and the CW shows, you could have easily picked TV shows that you hated to trash every week.
Yeah,
but you want to talk about stuff you like.
Yeah, and I've tried to keep my Reloaded channel specifically for that, like just things that I want to talk about, things that I enjoy talking about. And I've been doing that for a while. And I saw somebody commenting, they're like, "Oh, the channel's not doing as good as your Debunks channel." Well, there's a couple reasons why. Number one is that channel is from like 2007. It's an old channel, so YouTube doesn't promote it. That's just a fact. That's why people start new channels. And also, I'm not really doing a lot over there outside of my live streams. I really love podcasting and interacting with people, and I'll upload a clip now and then or a video every now and then, but I'm not over there promoting that channel that way. Maybe that'll change. Maybe I'll start doing more stuff like that over there. But yeah, essentially I spent a decade doing daily videos, like literally Monday through Friday daily videos on the CW, Arrowverse shows, all these things. And I had a great audience during that time, and a lot of them still stuck around even after the shows ended, which is why the podcast does really well. The Nerdcast does really well. We consistently get 100+ viewers every night, late at night. So I'm happy about that, and my Debunks channel is where I can just talk shit about stuff. And it's usually with the intent to make the internet better, but allowing myself the space to talk about things that might be uncomfortable or, could be, I don't want to say, I guess a lot of it is controversial. It's not all controversial, but more controversial stuff, I guess, is probably where I'd put that. Chris says, I usually Reload channel for the Nerdcast, but admittedly Debunks is the one I watch more. That's fine, Chris. That's why I put that on both channels, though. The Nerdcast. That's why it's on both channels. I stream to both channels.
It's a very different show, and it's going to appeal to a different audience. You cover a lot of news. You do the reviews of anything that's out, but it's your opportunity to talk as a group, whereas like Debunks is you on your own, having gathered your thoughts together. So yeah, I can understand why some people will be more attracted to one than the other, and why you wanted to separate them. It makes perfect sense.
Well, where'd Cherry go?
I believe I'd said this back then. It's like him saying, I don't want to shit on this movie just to shit on it, is him kind of shitting on the movie. And
that's what I said. That's what I said when people asked me about it. I'm like, him saying that tells me that he didn't like it. And that's
what that tells me about the people still demanding that he make a specific video doing that is that they, just can't get enough of a YouTuber shitting on something that they have already pre-decided is bad.
Right.
Or B, and I think this is, more likely, or maybe it's a mixture of both. Chris Stuckman just he's not somebody that they like because they happen to follow certain YouTubers that have shit on Chris Stuckman quite a bit for years.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if his fan base were actually genuinely upset that he decided not to cover movies he doesn't like. And also, what his opinions on those movies he doesn't like are, because he doesn't make a video about them.
Yep. I mean, why do you need to see somebody say the same shit? Or it just doesn't make any sense to me. But Matt, the film guy, thanks for letting us know about this, man. Had the pleasure watching Shelby Oaks last year at Fright Fest. Honestly, I had mixed feelings. I've seen that quite a bit, and I kind of, based on the trailer, I expect to have some criticisms maybe. We can talk about that. Yeah, we're not sitting here like shilling his movie that we haven't seen or anything. But the guy's out here doing it. That's what matters. After looking into it, I'm even more impressed. Not having seen the film, not saying I'm impressed with the movie or his skills or anything. He might suck. I don't know. But point being that,
he clearly cares about it, and obviously he saw some flaws in it as well, and that's why they've gone and done reshoots. And
so this, what it does, if you look into it, this highlights exactly why Mauler, and that's what I named the stream, he's stuck, man. He's fucking not going anywhere. Mauler's never going to go beyond. Maybe some other right-wing organization or whatever will hire him to write something or whatever, but like, I can't see him going much further than the Rippaverse, which he's writing a story in, or whatever short film he's doing for Critical Drinker, right? Both of those jobs he got because of people he knows. Which they've talked about Chris Stuck. Oh, it's just because he's nice to everybody or whatever. No, it's because okay, so the movie made or the Kickstarter made $1.4 million just right off the bat, basically, based on some stuff that he shot. Then Neon got interested, and then Mike Flanagan, who he had exchanged emails with for about a decade at that point, because he positively reviewed his movie Oculus back in the day, which is a good fucking movie. And got a lot of attention on Mike Flanagan before he, went on to become the Mike Flanagan. So they're friends because of the fact that Chris Stuckman isn't a cynical fucking outrage, media grifter, because he just sincerely likes things or doesn't like them or whatever. And he made connections that way. People remember it whenever you're not an asshole, yeah. So, when them shitting on him for just like not wanting to go at people in the industry, because that's what their main thing was, is that, oh, he's making movies now, so he doesn't want to like talk shit on anybody that he might lose out on work or whatever. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Sure, there's nothing wrong with that. Just seems like,
but especially after making your own film and knowing what each person's job is on that film and understanding how hard each of them works and how, because he knows, obviously everybody knows that films sometimes, with the best will in the world, don't come together, and there's numerous reasons for that, because there's like a million moving parts to every film. So sometimes they're bad through no fault of any of the people that made it.
Professional looking film, way more than Critical Drinkers Rogue Elements. Yeah.
Well, I don't have any doubt that's true. I believe that.
Well, and here's the difference as well. Obviously, Chris Stuckman had an idea of how much money he would need to make the film. He probably thought about it. He had written it, obviously. He knew what he was doing at every stage. He didn't just go out, ask for a sum of money, get more than that, and then think, oh, what do I do with this pile of money now? Oh, I'll make it longer.
He shot it for like, I think 16, 17 days. And then down the road, Flanagan got on board and was like, no, you need edits here. So he took criticism. That's one thing. Flanagan was in the editing room with him for a couple of days, brought on his composers that he uses for that. And then I think they shot some new scenes to like add some more horror stuff or gore stuff or something. I don't know. But yeah. No, Mauler's never put anything out other than just shitting on other people's stuff. Like I've said before, he could, if he's got some formula for what makes a great movie and what makes a bad one, why doesn't he just like do a series on that? Here's the formula, right? Because he doesn't actually. He's just saying shit as it comes to his mind, depending on whatever he's watching.
Well, and that's the secret, right? We've kind of touched on this, but he's just CinemaSins. He's just kind of like a more mean-spirited CinemaSins. That's just kind of what EFEP is, and also just like way longer and more tedious, and there's a ton of tangents. But it is that live stream format, which people like. People like live streams because it gives you a sense of like community and stuff, and it's a little bit more engaging with the creator. I get that, but yeah,
and
I don't know.
If you think that Mauler generally has cracked the code, if he had worked out the formula for not making a bad movie, people would be knocking down his door and asking for him to be a troubleshooter or a script doctor. But nobody in Hollywood, nobody anywhere in the media industry cares what he thinks, because they know he's wrong and they know exactly why he's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's something about guys like that is that like you can tell a lot by how unable they frequently are to describe what makes a film good. Like go watch a Jacob Geller video, like there's somebody who will engage occasionally with like a piece of art and will describe like precisely like why it speaks to him and stuff like that. And I think that's so much more insightful. There's a lot of YouTubers who do stuff like that, or even like YouTubers who talk about how stuff works. EFEP is named after every frame of painting.
Right.
Obviously, it's for them. It's every frame of pause. I know what they mean by it, but
not even original title. Like, everything is a play on something else, right?
Well, it's and the whole concept of every frame of painting is that like every small moment of a film comes together in this sort of beautiful way. A really good film is constructed laboriously, so you can watch those videos and get a sense of like, here's a little editing technique that combines with this other technique in the camera work, and then the actor does this, which has this significance because they blocked this scene this way, and the set is constructed like this to give it this sense when they do this shot. I mean, I've said this before in a video, but like if that was what Mauler did, I'd have real respect for that, But I just don't know. It's like to occasionally be reacting to something to be like, so first of all, half of their arguments on EFAP are just them not knowing shit. Where they just like kind of performatively act confused about something and then act like there must not be an explanation.
How do you build stuff underwater?
Right. Well, I have to say, I watched that. I think it was the Guardians of the Galaxy one, but the YouTuber SK did a video response to EFAP that I thought was like really on point about the third Guardians of the Galaxy film. And there's a scene where the EFAP guys don't understand why Star-Lord runs back for his Walkman, and their argument is that it doesn't make sense because he is supposed to kind of have moved past that in his character development based on how far he's come in the films. With the issue with that being a few things. Like, first of all, he's constantly adding to this Walkman. So obviously this is something that's kind of building up in that regard. Well, technically, he gets a what's it called, like a Zune later on. So I mean, it's evolving kind of a quality of his character. But that film is sort of using that to play into his inability to let go, which is a thing about that film, like where he acts like he's let go of I think it's his grandfather that he hasn't gone to see.
It's his throughout all the movies, because there's the in the first movie, it's like he wouldn't let go of his mother when she was dying, and he had, he wouldn't take her hand, and then came full circle whenever he had to save or take Gamora's hand or whatever at the end. And then I don't remember the second one, but the third one, it's he won't let go of Gamora because it's not the same Gamora. You know what I mean? So like that is the thing with him. And then it's like, come on, man, get over your dead mom and the only thing she ever left you, right? Like
speaking of the second one, that's it in the second one, because the ego destroys the Walkman, and that enrages him because he's not only has he destroyed his mother, but ego's also destroyed his last connection to his mother, and that's the inciting incident. So
want to give a shout out. That's a super chat from my channel from I think it's Fadagen is the pronunciation there. 250 super chat. Good talks and Liver Destroyers Fantastic Four video. Liver Destroyers. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Wait, is that Critical Drinker?
Yeah.
You know what I think. Creative. It is funny, but I like to point out. I like to be the sour sport and point out that I don't think the guy even fucking probably drinks that much, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean he might, but like the
cap is on. In the photo, the cap is on the bottle.
And let me be fucking clear, as someone from the South, right? It to think you're not a fucking whiskey man if you drink fucking Jack Daniels, all right? You're just not. You're a trailer trash fucking goon. That's the only people.
I see comments about Eric July. I actually haven't even made a video about Eric July in probably 2 months. I don't remember the last time I talked about it. Maybe here when we discussed him, when people like to come in and be like, "Oh, you're talking about Eric July again." It's like,
I feel like this is a joke here. Maybe I can't tell. If it's not a joke, you come across like satire, like good satire, man. So thank you for that.
I mean, like
the name like that is
Young Grippa That's so good.
No, I mean his channel is like he lost another like 2,000 subscribers. Like it's just whatever. Like,
but here's the secret Critical Drinker law is that he's got to be the most self-loathing Scotsman I've ever seen, because he loves everything American. He claims to be a big drinker, but drinks Jack Daniels rather than Scotch.
Drink the drink your fucking country's named for, man. It's right there. Branding is right there. Branding cohesion. Come on.
It's a very basic kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Eric July could make a comeback. If he works on himself sincerely, he could build his channel back up, brick by brick, as it were.
Brick by brick, yes.
Yeah. No, the funny thing is, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago, I got attacked because my opinion was that people come to his channel for outrage content, and when he stops making that, his people aren't going to come to his channel anymore.
Well, to be fair, it's also they stopped coming because he's a fucking horrible hypocrite and a fucking, just like a obvious grifter.
I mean, when your paid Stan Twitter account just stops posting tweets, I think it's over, man.
Not good.
I think it's over.
Like he keeps defending the fact that he never liked Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Keeps saying that, and yet because of the Bob debate with him, and yet on that debate he showed Bob how he's got a collection of Miles Morales comics.
I mean, there's
some that have been rated.
There's the post that I found of him from Instagram from 2020 where he's wearing a fucking Miles Morales cap. And it's like, okay, so you have to admit either you don't know the difference between Miles and Peter's branding, and you just thought this was like a cool ass Spider-Man cap, or you were a fucking Miles fan.
Well, not only that, it's two birds with one stone, right? Because he also doesn't like the multiverse, is according to him. So he liked Miles, and Miles is from the multiverse, meaning that the two things that he says he doesn't like, he literally was supporting like 5 years ago.
Well, you know, but when it comes to Peter's origin, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. I do have to say, though, I have to jump out of here at 7. I got to work tonight. Anyway, it's fun as usual. Remember in my chat to play nice. Don't do anything that you wouldn't do when I'm not here, because they're going to time you out and we'll get a little slap on the wrist there. Anyway, but it's always nice chatting with everybody. Dane, Chariot, Ryan, and thanks everybody. And I do have a Critical Drinker video I put up earlier today, so everybody that's watching that hasn't seen that, go check it out.
I've got that open in another window, actually.
Okay. It's about the tweet that he put out that we talked about earlier, but I talk even more about it on that. So anyway, but I'll see everyone later. I got to go to work.
Later, man. Have a good one.
Later.
I also wanted to, so there was one more thing here about Chris Stuckman. All this sounds like a good reason to hear his perspective on a bad film. Like, wouldn't be interesting to get a filmmaker's review on a movie? I mean, I see what you're saying. That's the point. At the same time, in these articles that I've been looking through in the last couple of days to learn about the production of Shelby Oaks and how that came together. For one thing, if you don't watch Stuckman's channel or never have, he was a few years ago, he put out a pretty long video and you know, open, vulnerable video about how he was raised in Jehovah's Witness, and you know, getting out of that cult was a big deal for him. Took him a while, and then he also has talked about his partner, his wife, and that their struggles to, I guess, have a baby. They wanted to do that. They wanted to start a family, but they medically had issues with that, and they finally were able to. They had twins, you know. So like at a certain point, I don't know how old you are, but at a certain point, it becomes necessary to go, what do I want to fucking put my energy into? You know what I mean? Like, that's
I think, yeah, that's absolutely right. At a certain point, you just get too old for some of this stuff. But also, there are hardly any filmmakers who will give a perspective on a bad film. Usually, they tend to either be settling personal grievances with somebody who made the film, or they will be just speaking about why they personally don't find the film engaging. But right. they won't go into why a film is bad, because there's every chance they've made a bad film, or they will make a bad film in their career. Nobody's got a spot.
Or just the fact that these things are pretty subjective anyway.
Yeah.
And why would, it's like, why would I tell somebody that I hate this character, Marvel character, every comic I've ever, it's not really anything I think applies, but, oh, I don't like this character, I don't like this run. Maybe it's the run that you would like. You know what I mean?
Because I think I remember the advice that Ivan Reitman gave to Jason Reitman was direct everything.
You'll never be as good as me, son.
Well, yeah, that too. But no, what he said was he was so scared of making bad films after making Ghostbusters that he just turned down so many films. He could have directed so much more, and some of them turned out great and some of them turned out bad. He wasn't willing to take the risk. And that's the other thing. You get bogged down into this idea of, well, what if the next one isn't good? And every person who's made a film and continues to have that career will have made bad films. You can't avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's kind of fascinating because, like, I don't know. Dane, you go ahead. I'm still gathering my thoughts. I'm just a little exasperated by the whole prospect of being somebody who is negative all the time, just because you know, like think about the Marvel films, right? I'm sure even fans of Marvel will point to one or two things and go, "Oh, I didn't like that."
I can
But
criticize the
honestly,
shit out of them, and I generally love the franchise. So
yeah, but like I can only really think of like one thing Marvel that I really like, maybe one or two that I really kind of like took issue with. I think off the top of my head, I've only got one. And it's not that I like liked the other ones or that I thought that they were great, but I think that like if your emotional range is terrible film and good film, that's very binary. Whereas like a lot of films I watch and I'm like, it's all right. As you know, didn't really strike me. 2 to 3 stars. That's not like something that I would shell out like a lot of hatred for. But like if you make certain decisions, I think that I might be more incensed to like give a harsh criticism.
There's plenty of films out there that I know that I like that I don't like maybe 99% of the film. But there will be one thing in that film that I absolutely love. I mean, for example, just off the top of my head, I thought the A-Team film that they did, it was okay. It was a decent enough action film. But that scene with the tank falling, that was brilliant. I'd never seen that before.
it was fucking great.
Even I know about that one.
Show me something in a film I've never seen before, and immediately it'll jump.
I'll remember it positively, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, okay. Here's a recent example. I haven't said this yet, but Superman. After having sat with it for a while, and then after having watched Guardians of the Galaxy again since then, I expected after leaving Superman that would probably be my favorite James Gunn movie, and it's not. It's still not.
Which one is?
I think it would have to still be just a kind of a two-way tie between Guardians 1 and 3.
Guardians 3 is kind of underrated in the
totally
MCU,
underrated.
I feel. Yeah,
it's there's a lot going on in there, and it's maybe because you have to watch Infinity War to kind of get some of the context and remember what exactly is motivating characters and stuff like that. Maybe that's it. But
yeah, but I think another thing is, which is something my partner said to me. She said she loved the film, but she would never watch it again because she couldn't deal with the animal suffering in it.
Oh,
I think it's for some people that's
valid.
Be the case. Yeah,
I mean, and it is hard, but I also like Rocket's journey, and then James Gunn has talked about this, that he identified from the very beginning with Rocket more than any other character, and that's why he wanted to wait out and have Rocket's story be the final kind of arc, and why he becomes the leader at the end, because he's somebody who he's not a bad guy. He's just been hurt so much that he only knows how to look after himself and the people right around him. He doesn't, and then in part 3, he literally, like that, the scene with him finding all the animals. He finds the little baby raccoons and he's like, oh shit, and they look just like I did. And then he sees all the other animals. That's literally him experiencing like just an open empathy, the empathy that he's never had before. Like, all these things matter. All these creatures matter. And, and he becomes a true hero in that moment. And it's fucking beautiful.
Yeah. I mean,
and you don't get there without the animal abuse is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's true. It doesn't make it any easier to watch, but for some people, but yeah, that is his arc through the entire film. Because when we first meet him, he's partnered with Groot, and that's his circle, the two of them.
An emotion, like a pretty limited emotional range character, yeah.
And then as his social group expands, so does his emotional range until sort of.
You can tell Gunn was really thinking about this too, going back and watching like the first movie, whenever they get to nowhere and they're waiting on seeing the Collector or whatever, and Rocket and Drax are doing their drinking games or whatever, and they end up in a fight, and there's this moment where Rocket's he's drunk and he's just like, I didn't ask to be made, turned in, what this thing or whatever, and it's like, holy shit, man, James Gunn was putting a lot of thought into this character before he was ready to reveal his hand. You know what I mean?
But to be fair, I think there are a lot of films that even the big what you might consider the worst of the Marvel films, and to be honest, I've liked all of them to varying degrees. But like something that struck me about Fantastic Four, which I haven't heard anybody else mention. I don't know if you've picked up on this, but in that film, the relationship between Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman, between those two, she is effectively his muse in that. There's a couple of scenes where his brain can't do it, and then he's struck by inspiration by her, and that's what leads to the success of the final sort of battle is he's inspired by her, and that's really the journey that his character goes on, alongside of sort of becoming more emotional, is that he learns to trust her sort of vibe more.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, it's not canon, but it is very, very right there. If you read Fantastic Four comics, that Reed he's autistic as fuck. You know, he needs an assist sometimes, getting out of his head, getting out of the analytical, you know, mind and stuff. And that's why, yeah, that's what they did it perfectly. And then if you think about it, when have we had just like a healthy, you know, fucking couple in the MCU that like so many characters are like broken families, divorced, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Man, wow. I thought about what you said, by the way, the Superman thing. I think I like Superman more, but I think Guardians 3 is my second favorite. I think
I just you know what it would be is like if maybe there was like 8% more focus on Superman than some of the other stuff that happens. I don't know. It's a really minor thing, but it's just totally subjective, obviously, but very, very the connection that I feel to Peter's character and Peter Quill, the character, and then Rocket and everything. It's just it's pretty deep, and it always has been. And that's, you know, Superman is.
They set it up from the beginning, but then also he had pretty much a clean slate with that one, whereas with Superman that comes with baggage. But what's interesting about,
which does make it very impressive that he was able to do what he did, right? Like he humanized Superman in a way that really the comics have struggled to do a lot.
What's interesting about a lot of the critiques of Superman is that, like you, people want more Superman, or they wanted the film to be longer, and I'm thinking that's probably what he was aiming for, because he wants you to watch that film and then want to see more.
Yeah, I'd watch a Superman 2 and 3 and stuff by James Gunn for sure.
Let's say he cut out the Justice Gang out of the film completely and reworked it that way, and they weren't in it. In order to introduce them, then what do? Do you make another film that's just about them? That probably wouldn't work because it's just about them. So giving people a bit of what they want in certain areas is going to bring them back, and I think that's leave the audience wanting more.
I realized something actually about Superman the other day when I was thinking about it. I think it's interesting that there's such a large like supporting cast for an introductory film, for kind of obviously reintroducing the character, but still like this is like the first of this kind of version of Superman that we're seeing, the James Gunn Superman. I think it's interesting how many foils Superman has, because like there's the obvious ones like the Lois Lanes and kind of the Lex Luthors and like the you know the way his two different sets of parents kind of play off of each other, but also like Superman has great contrast with like Mr. Fantastic and like Guy Gardner, and like it really feels like he's like playing off. He has so many characters to play off of.
Yeah, and he's going against the grain in so many ways. Like even the heroes he has disagreements with, right? Like they're just like, let's just kill this fucking beast, and he's like, no.
I think that's got to be what makes it like so interesting to me, because this is like a Superman movie about who Superman is like socially. So like he needs to have all of these other people to relate to, and I think that's kind of cool. That's kind of dope. It kind of in a movie version, it's kind of a microcosm of what they used to do with like the Justice League Unlimited show, where like they would have a lot of team ups every episode, and you get to see characters play off of each other.
One of the things I agree with it. I saw it said before I saw the movie. I was like, got me excited was that this movie feels a bit like a, you know, Justice League Unlimited movie. And you know, the thing that James Gunn did to give this movie lots of credit, as opposed to other like MCU movies that have tried to, or even just or whatever, Batman vs Superman that tried to, you know, well, let's do the whole shared universe now, because this obviously has a shared universe, but why is it better than other versions? Because it's all relevant to each other. The characters that are in the movie are, like you're talking about, they play off of Superman. They're necessary to tell the story and characterize Superman in a certain way. Whereas like it's not just, okay, we've got the Superman plot, now we shove in these characters and have them do some shit. You know what I mean? Or have Batman open an email that has some attachments with characters in it or whatever. As Steve Shive said, I quote, he said, James Gunn wrote the hell out of this movie. And I agree with that. is
and I think that's also one of the things that people didn't even realize they wanted out of, like, going back to Infinity War. One of the things I loved about that film is the combination of pairings that we got of all these characters. I mean, pairing Rocket with Winter Soldier was just, yeah, who does that? And that's the sort of thing that I think people think they want out of comic books and then comic book movies, but then don't realize that you have to really lay the groundwork to get there.
Yeah. I mean, some of the earlier attempts in the MCU to, expand the thing were kind of rejected and criticized because of those, like Iron Man 2. The stuff that people don't like about Age of Ultron, although I am an apologist for that movie, a lot of people don't like some of the stuff that's just seems like world building for world building's sake.
Can I say something crazy about that film?
Sure.
So the original, like, Avengers, like the first team up film, and Ultron, and like Civil War, and Infinity War and Endgame, out of all 5 of those, I like Ultron the best.
Whoa, that is crazy. I mean, I'm all for that. I mean, I think Endgame is objectively the best, but no,
people like that film. Yeah,
I have not understood some of the people that are just like, it's boring, Age of Ultron or whatever. I'm like, it was the first time I felt like I was reading an Avengers comic while watching a movie, kind of thing, even more so than the first one. I mean, I think the first one has a tighter pacing. It's got, everything's more, kind of focused, I guess. But at the same time, the first one was literally shot as with TV show cameras, because that's, I guess, what we knew. So everything is like floor to ceiling on your TV rather than having the cinematic aspect ratio. It's kind of weird when you watch it, but
yeah. I like there's a lot of little poetic things about Age of Ultron that I think are nice. The scene from that film, like, sort of like Ryan was saying about how, like, a film can have like that one scene and it'll just really make you like it. It'll completely change your opinion towards it. For me, with Ultron, there's like 1 or 2, but the big one is when Vision and Ultron have that exchange at the end.
Yes,
I love that. That's unironically, it feels almost like really good sci-fi kind of.
His quote is fucking phenomenal. I forget exactly what he says, but it's a pretty complex concept that he's conveying right before he obliterates Ultron.
And yeah, just ending it on the you sound like you were born yesterday, and I was.
He says, you're unbearably naive.
Well, I
was
born yesterday.
Yeah, sorry, that's the line.
Good, yeah. Well, and then also, like, Ultron says something is like, they're doomed. You understand that, and Vision says yes, but there's grace in their failures or something like that. And I just think that that's really beautiful too. I also I've never heard anybody talk about this, by the way. In the scene where they first introduce, like, Ultron's plan to, like, kill humanity, when he first sort of a thing is not beautiful because it lasts. Yeah, that's the line. Ultron is in the church, and he says that the church was built in that location so that everyone in the city could be equally close to God.
Yeah.
The reason, it's subtext, but it's not very subtle. The reason why he picks that place to kill humanity is because he's literally going to send them all to God. It's like it's just little things like that you're not really super expecting from like an Avengers film. I like that a lot.
The one thing that I think it does lack in comparison to the first one is just the personification of the villain that Loki brings to the first movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Ultron being Ultron, he lacks humanity visually, and they did an okay job with him.
I think casting James Spader as well is probably the best bit of casting they could do, because he can bring so much with his voice as well.
The full quote that I love that Vision says at the end is, a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. It's a privilege to be among them. Humans are odd. They think that order and chaos are somehow opposites and try to control what won't be. But there is grace in their failings.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
It's fucking good. It's
whereas I was kind of disappointed because Civil War to me felt like kind of a misfire. Maybe this is controversial, but my understanding, again, not a huge comics person, my understanding is some of the subtext of Civil War is that the reason why Captain America specifically is so against the Accords is because it would register mutants and other such similar things. And he sees this as like analogous to what the Nazis were doing.
No, I mean, not. I mean, yes, that's part of it. They did a pretty good job. I think actually Iron Man is represented way better in the movie than he is in the comics. His position, they do go to lengths to make him not see. He may be making foolish choices. He may be, in the wrong, in the long run or whatever. But like, you don't see him as the bad guy the way that he fucking clearly. He comes off as a villain in the comics for a lot of it.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Like,
they do rep his perspective.
But like, no, it's not just specifically about mutants. It's about, that, but also just the idea that the reason superheroes exist in this universe is because the system, police, whatever, has failings, and where those failings exist, there need to be people that exist outside the system to come in and and this is why I go back to every frame of painting. I think they have the video that I fucking hate about how the Avengers are fascist propaganda or whatever. Fuck that shit. I'll fight anybody. Anyway,
I will say Civil War feels mildly. This is going to be probably pretty controversial. Civil War to me feels mildly like Reaganite, just because Captain America's perspective, and I really just feel like an extra 5 minutes in the film could have solved this. Captain America's perspective really feels like in his dialogue, it seems like he's just like anti-regulation. Like, if you've got a ton of power for incredible violence, it would somehow be wrong for like a democratic body to like regulate you. And I kind of feel like I understand the argument against it. I also kind of feel like if it was anybody not the morally good Avengers, I think that we would see the argument in favor of that regulation.
I think that in the comics it's presented as like this is kind of being rammed through without any discussion. Kind of thing. And in the movie, as well as like with Iron Man, they do a great job with Steve because he's got the personal connection to it in Bucky in the movie.
That is the one thing that I think it makes his character sympathetic in the film. Like, it's not a complete letdown. But yeah, there was a part of me that I was watching that film, and he said something. When he's arguing with Tony, not at the end, but earlier in the film. He fucking says something to him, and I was like, I've literally had conservatives say that to me about gun control and stuff, and I was like, I don't know, like, this just it felt like somebody, I don't know, I would have redrafted.
So here's my good faith interpretation of Captain America's position in the movie, because Scarlet Witch clearly has powers that she doesn't understand. They're fucking crazy powerful. And if she just makes a slight mistake, she can murder a lot of people. Okay. That is a problem. And I don't think that Steve neglects to see that. I think that he is taking the position of, instead of allowing a rush to judgment and whatever might happen in this moment after this, tragedy, a la, invasion of Iraq or something like that. Let's fucking take a moment here. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just handing her over to, the government or whatever, like, yes, but she is a person still, right? Like, there needs to be some kind of, that's what I feel like is his position in the movie. So,
absolutely. Well, and I trust that that's completely the intent, I think. I will say, in the chat, we have a really good remark. In the comics, the Registration Act is an allegory for the Patriot Act, which I would have loved to, because, being who I am, right? You're talking to somebody who loves the Phantom Menace, right? I would have loved a little bit more of the like kind of politics of it, because it does feel like if you're gonna invoke like the United Nations and stuff like that, you're dealing with like a big political controversy. They're going to be worried about like how does the ICC feel about Captain America and Iron Man? I just wonder.
If we apply how we know the world reacted, at least for in unison for a couple of years there, right after 9/11. If we apply that experience to what would happen in a world where this crazy shit is happening, I don't know. I feel like you can kind of map it over a little bit and see it as. And also, I think that having this is a choice that was not in the comics. Having Thunderbolt Ross be the guy that presents it is a specific choice that carries, the history of him and his fucking, dogged pursuit of the Hulk, right? Like it's kind of shorthand for this is a guy who, whether for good reasons or not, has made it his career to limit these powered beings, or at least control them or something. You know what I mean?
I think something that the film perhaps didn't go deep enough into is, and I think maybe for good because it allows discussion on it, is what is at the core of the act. Is it to, because essentially I think Cap's point is you can't just regulate against all the problems in the world. There are other solutions which are less harmful. He's attempting to come to a solution to minimize harm, and I don't know if we've got enough of that. Like, what we never got to hear what his solution to dealing with somebody with the Scarlet Witch's powers was.
Because I think he's just anti-reactionary in general. He doesn't have a solution. He's just against the reactionary position, right? Like he knows well how bad that can turn out.
Yeah, and I think this is it's a little bit worse. In somebody brought up in the chat, the Acolyte with the Republic senator criticizes the Jedi for having unchecked power. I think that was in hindsight a really big ball drop, because if they had done just like 2 more Acolyte episodes, think about the stuff that they could have drawn into it that would have really given you an idea of what that setting is supposed to be like. I realize this is tangential, but like that's to me, that's almost more of a kind of missed opportunity, because that was kind of their first major foray on Disney Plus into like that era, that like High Republic era of Star Wars that they wanted to explore.
And I know a lot. Sorry, I know a lot of Star Wars fans don't want to hear it, but the only reason we know the Jedi is good is because the Jedi have told us they're good.
Right. It's like the police, coming to the school and teaching us about drugs and how they're the good guys and drugs are the bad guys. We all believe that, right?
Yeah, they're also like, they have a certain thesis about like violence and power that I think parallels the Republic. And I think that the Republic is viewed as good in the context of the Empire. So it's like the juxtaposition, just sort of like, because the Sith are generally not great, even sort of even by their own lights. Like the internal disputes of the Sith paint them very poorly. So I think it's the juxtaposition, but I do like the idea that when you compare the Jedi with like other groups of Force users or different cultures or certain political situations, now all of a sudden you get like a big I don't know, like a big political implication. I think that that would have been really interesting to see.
This is an excellent point that I did not think about. That, I mean, in his previous movie, the organization that essentially brought the Avengers together and is supposed to be this global peacekeeping force is literally run secretly by Nazis.
And I think for me, like, the thing about that's something about Marvel that, like, and this is personal, right? I just have to say this is like a personal taste thing, but it does kind of feel like there's a lot of things that I have to keep in mind from like other films and shows when I'm like watching something, if I want to get like the subtext.
True.
And like I don't really know if like there's anything specific that like would accommodate that. Like
they could have dropped there could have been a line in Civil War that would have addressed that might have I don't know, supported the whole thing a bit more.
Yeah, maybe like show like a scene where because there is a scene where like the politicians get like attacked and it's Black Panther's father is killed, I believe. I haven't seen this film in a long time, but
it's true, Lucifer. It's not like it's just it's not like you're talking about it was on Disney Plus in one episode of a show. It was actually just the previous movie. But yeah, these are all good points.
Well, I understand, but I'm just saying, like, in the context of the film, I like when the characters have like their own kind of like motives and characterization reinforced. That's a pretty fundamental like aspect of writing. So I do kind of feel like sometimes, I mean, it's because it's hard because you're dealing with a lot. They're drawing together a ton of stuff.
I did want to, Lucifer.
They do that with the villain where they bring up Sokovia.
Yeah,
and like they very directly mention it. So I think that maybe that's an example of something like that.
Lucifer, I did want to push back earlier. You said something about, let me see if I started that one. Nope. You were talking about how there's the time skip between Avengers 1 and 2. The reason it doesn't bother me is because I assume that basically they've just been busting up Hydra spots the whole time. That's how the movie literally opens. They talk about it.
Yeah,
to me, I'm like, okay. I mean, we could have opened the movie with them doing 30 minutes, 20 minutes of just Now let's go to this Hydra spot. Nope, the staff's not there. Now we go to this other one, but no, that we start on the one where they finally found it. I think it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, now we're doing controversial Marvel opinions. I should mention I'm lukewarm on Black Panther as well. People will really come and get me.
It's really the fucking CGI fucking garbage at the end that just brings it down for me.
This is my like political ideals getting in the way of me like enjoying something probably. So I'm just being a goofball, and people can tell me I'm being silly, but there is a part of that film that feels like mildly like regime change-ish. It's like,
yeah, I know what you mean. Like once again, they present Killmonger as being essentially right in how he formulated his opinion, but then wrong in how he executes it. And I think
that's essentially how most of the good villains in Marvel are. Magneto, I mean, like a good villain is going to be one that, or not necessarily, this isn't a universal rule, obviously, because Lex Luthor's a great villain and Superman, and he's just a piece of shit. But, like Thanos, for example, he's got a good point. The way he goes about dealing with it, kind of bad. Black Panther, Killmonger's the same way. Killmonger makes great points. His solution is, I think born, and much like Magneto, I think they have this in common, is born from trauma. And just like a not having, like, I've got the power to do something now, and rather than, think about the damage that I might cause in the course of changing things, I'm just gonna do the stuff with the power. And yeah, I don't know.
I like that chat. Magneto is a villain? ? Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, let's say antagonist, I should say.
Yeah, no, I know what you meant.
I'm assuming that's your opinion, Cherry. I don't know if you want to expand.
Actually, the thing about Black Panther is it's sort of, because this is how I am, right? Like, it's hard to say that there's like one thing in a film that is like a bad decision. It's also contextual, right? So usually if I'm taking issue with something, usually it's how it's coming together that just doesn't strike me quite right. And the thing about Black Panther that does that is, yeah, it's sort of the Killmonger stuff, but I actually in isolation have no problem with that. It's weird to me that Black Panther seems like the foreign sponsored ruler, though. It kind of feels like what's happening there is something very similar to a lot of the major like political upheavals and injustices that we see, where the United States will back a candidate and there will be like a state sponsored coup, or like,
which by the way, I need to talk to you about being a guest on our show that we're going to be doing very soon. Because we'll talk about that. But
yeah,
that's what you're saying. I guess I would think that from memory, I feel like the fact that he is a brand new king, he's trying to navigate new kingdom, and the death of his father and legacy, and then also that this is now his country is known to the world when it never has been. I feel like those are the considerations that make him, I guess a little bit more, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess the way that I would put it is, I don't know if it's bad. It's a little odd.
Sure.
Is probably the word that I would go for.
I think they basically redeem themselves towards the end of the film and the beginning of Wakanda Forever, because essentially Charlotte, oh God, I can't speak again. He takes on the good things about what Killmonger was saying. He adopts the reasons for Killmonger's grievances, but does it in a way that is peaceful. And then we see that obviously that still upsets the rest of the world, because they come in and try and steal everything in Wakanda Forever. And it's looking at, this is what happens when you won't sell yourself short to another country. You won't give up your mineral rights because they are better at extracting them, but you won't also let them steal it, and you can stop them from stealing it. So I think it's politically, in that respect, I think that really works for me.
Yeah, well, that's also a strength of the MCU, is they get to do like, sort of like I was talking about earlier. It can be kind of a weakness because you're like, sometimes you're kind of picking and choosing what fits into the runtime of your film with how relevant your film is going to be to so many other things. But also what that means is you can build on it later, and then all of a sudden I think it kind of redeems the premise, the way that they kind of end it. So I completely see what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wakanda Forever definitely is. I need to try and watch that again because I was just it's difficult. It was impossible the first time for me to not just at the forefront of my mind be thinking about Chadwick Boseman, and that this movie is what it is because he died. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was weird to have him die off screen in the beginning of the movie. You know what I mean? I don't know how else they could have done that, but
it is tough to know how to handle something like that.
Yeah.
I think that there's probably worse ways to handle it. I remember Rise of Skywalker and how they kept trying to CGI the dead Carrie Fisher onto the scene where literally her character dies and she's like, her body is in several, they cut back to it several times. And it felt very,
I mean, obviously I'm in no position to speak on that. The way I took it was that T'Challa doesn't have the experience that Killmonger and so many, African descendant people outside of Africa who were, taken from Africa. He doesn't have that experience. He literally is just a privileged king. He may have he certainly understands it on an academic level, but he didn't fully understand how that trauma might drive someone. And that's why I think the scene at the end of the first Black Panther film is so good. It's great. What does Killmonger says, bury me in the ocean with the, something about the I don't know. I forget it because I don't want to misquote it, but it was really good.
Yeah.
Powerful shit.
Also, Michael B. Jordan is acting his heart out in that film. So I think that's also something that kind of translates it really well.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right, Sean. It's a weird position to be in, to be a superhero, a hero, who traditionally is someone that is their interest is in taking care of people that system fails, and then also being literally the figurehead of a system, which is why was it Ta-Nehisi Coates' recent run was pretty great, because I think at least for most of it, I haven't read all of it, but for most of it, he was literally exiled. He's not the king anymore. And he's kind of going around other parts of Africa, getting to know things and being an outsider in different situations, and also dating a trans woman. So, well, man, we could talk about Marvel all goddamn day. I could. How about you guys? Hello?
I mean, yeah, no, I started I kicked off a Marvel discussion, I guess. But that was good. No, I appreciate what you guys had to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's just nice to talk about the things you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is YouTube, and it's kind of like this.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Blade, by the way. How would you guys rank the 3 Blade movies?
2, 1, 3.
Same.
Yeah. Okay, we're all on the same page on that
so
one.
So it's objective. All right.
Yeah. I love democracy.
Yeah. I mean, goddamn, Blade 2 was such a refreshing thing. I loved the first one. Maybe I've talked about my experience with that one before, but that was the first time me and my 2 older brothers had been together in over a decade. They were the ones that got me into comics and stuff. So it's a pretty special moment going to see that with them. And but man, Blade 2 was fucking, I was not prepared. I was just, I don't know, went to see that with one of my brothers, and when it came out, and just completely did not expect it to be so awesome. Had no idea who Guillermo del Toro was. I don't think many people did. But
no, well, the first one was an indie film, wasn't it? It had it had the sensibilities of an indie film, and then the second one just has the sensibilities of an indie art house film, and
yeah, it leans more into the horror element, I think, as well.
Yeah, but it also leans a little bit more into the I don't want to say campy, but kind of yeah, Blade's the coolest motherfucker alive, deal with it kind of vibe. You know what I mean? That the first one had that, but this one just triples down on it, right?
And I mean, if you wanted to, and this goes back to my problem with EFAP. If you did what they do to that film, you could easily just disassemble it completely, because there's things that don't make any sense at all in that film. But it doesn't matter, because it's Guillermo del Toro just doing his thing. The thing that always got me is that because the way he kills all the vampires at the end is with that light bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, light doesn't go around corners. Light doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You could, if you blew up a light bomb in a sewer, how is that light getting around the corners to get
Who
all
cares?
those
It was
vampires?
awesome.
It doesn't matter. No,
it is
doesn't
mildly
matter.
inconsistent as well, because like, yeah, I wonder how that explosive is supposed to work, because like you're right, it can't just be a flash.
Well, but there's all bits and pieces like that throughout the film. Like there's one scene where one of the new vampires is feeding, and it starts excreting out of its back at the same time. None of the other vampires do that. It's not something that this type of vampire does. It's just that Guillermo del Toro had read about this.
He was going a little crazy with his monster, designs, and hey, more power.
Yeah, but apparently he had read about an insect that does the same thing, and so he thought, right, well, that's cool. I'll put it in there. And sometimes that's enough. Put it in there if it's cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to entirely make sense within the established lore. If it's cool, do it.
I mean, do you want to tell him, Sean, or I mean, basically you can use whatever you want, really. I'm not going to call you out on that. Because Sean said this. Right. And then this guy said this. So, you guys deal with that. Blade 2 is perfect.
Let's just put it down to character count in the comment section and leave it at that. I don't think there was any malice there. But Blade 2, if you watch it in the same headspace that EFAT watched their stuff in, you could have all sorts of issues with it. But it's still the best of the three films because it's visually exciting, it's interesting, it's weird, really weird.
Love it. Love how weird it is. It's fun. And then man, the third one was really lame. Anyways, I don't think they're going to be doing a Blade movie now.
Yeah, whatever happened to that?
It just seems like it's too fraught with I don't know. We talked about it before. I think that it was a mistake to, the story goes that Mahershala Ali, after winning an Oscar for Green Book, was like, okay, now I can do whatever I want. I'm calling Marvel and telling them I want to be Blade. And that's I don't think any of the movies have started that way before. So it kind of put them in a situation that's very reminiscent of Ed Norton in Incredible Hulk, where it's like the dynamic is almost kind of this, you're lucky to have me. You know what I mean? And so that means I get to have a little bit more influence on what we do. And so there was instances, I'm not saying that Marvel's side was handling things great, but like, apparently he had rejected several directors that they put forward, and he wanted to find the director, and he was not working with them on that. And
ironically, there's stories like that from the set of Blade 3 as well, I think, come to think of it.
Well, there's the stories of Wesley Snipes refusing to respond to anything but Blade.
There's a scene where he wakes up and Wesley Snipes was refusing to open his eyes for some reason. So they CGI the eyes on him.
Yeah. And
I think it was reject. Actually, kind of if what I understand, if it's true, then I kind of respect it. He was like, he didn't like the story choice to end it that way.
Yeah, and I think David S. Goyer was an inexperienced director, who perhaps got a little bit big for his boots. To be honest, because he spouts off every now and again about because I think he said something about the Blade film. How could they just not make a cool Blade film? And I'm like, well, you managed it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and then, say he was kind of saying that Snipes' tax issues were kind of weighing on him too, and I don't know how true that is. Kind of seems kind of weird to throw that out there. Kind of unprofessional. At the same time, I'm fucking loving Foundation, so, was on the road to getting him to co-writing that show, so.
I think the current problem as well is that I felt like Marvel didn't want to ask Ryan Coogler to be involved with it because they didn't want to perhaps be seen as, well, we'll just call the one black dude.
The black guy, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get him to make the black films, and then obviously, if he had been involved, he wouldn't have made Sinners. He would have made a Blade film instead, because from what I understand, there were enough similarities between the two that it's probably better that they didn't make it, because it would have been compared to Sinners, and people would have been harsh on it for that reason. So I think they'll get around to it eventually, but I think they perhaps need to stop planning so far ahead with some of the stuff they do. Get the scripts, maybe borrow that from James Gunn and get the scripts before they announce the film.
Well, I'll say this: there's a channel called Kinda Culty. It's the only speculation on MCU channel that I ever even watch, and I sometimes don't do that because he's so good at taking little tidbits of, like, leaked info or whatever reports, and then kind of speculating based on what they've done in the past, based on comics and stuff, that he's actually spoiled movies for me just based on his informed speculation. Like, he ended up being so right about certain things. It's not one of these stupid, it's not a clickbaity type of thing. He does a lot of work and makes great content. I can't, if you're into that kind of thing and you just want to follow what might happen, if not, that's understandable too. Recently, he put out a video that really, for the first time, got me hyped for the story of what's going to happen in Doomsday and Secret Wars. I was excited for those movies based on the promise of what might happen, but based on what seems to be likely to happen, it's going to be fucking great. Hopefully they'll pull it off. But, like, Fantastic Four is going to play a major role, obviously. And then it seems to be that, I don't want to spoil it. In case it does end up being true, then I'll technically have spoiled it. But just going to say, I don't know. Put on your yellow spandex.
I don't have that.
Come on.
I don't think I have any spandex, actually.
No, Sean, no, man, please don't leave, dude. This is a misunderstanding here. I mean, like, I get the intention here, but, like, I just don't think that this is it's tricky. You're not in the wrong here, Sean. I think that
I'm just gonna say I'm with Jay Kung on that, just in the regard that if you're from a marginalized group and you hear your adjective turned into a noun, it's
okay. But what happens whenever you find out that Sean's a black guy?
I don't know. I
feel like I'm not one to police him saying, what he said, and especially in the context of what he said, which is not like,
I'd have to scroll back up.
It's not like he said the blacks. You know what I mean? And it's actually a pretty nuanced statement about what, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, just weird to. I get it. It's tricky, and the anonymity thing makes it weird, I think. But, like, it is yeah.
I know you don't want to make any assumptions about anybody,
right? Don't want to assume anybody's being woke, Scoldy, but maybe next time ask, like, what did you mean by that, or something like that. Just an option.
Yeah, I would say that's a good philosophy of life. Always ask questions first, and then find out the intention. Because I don't think there was any intention to be racist there. So
always pick fights and ask questions later.
That's the way to do it. In fact,
that's actually my motto.
I want to leave on this lady. Where's she at?
It's all right, Jay Kung. I get you. I saw what you're trying to do.
Yeah, nobody. It's just
I wouldn't
unfortunate.
For anybody.
So Nebraska, you got this. What was it? Fucking Mike Flood or whatever the fuck his name is. Piece of shit. He's like I guess a congressman, Nebraska, and he's like a flop sweat and GOP talking points in a suit. He did a town hall the other day. Nebraska, by the way, is a +10 GOP state, and yet they were not having his bullshit at this town hall. And so I'm just going to end with this lady who we need to have this lady's energy, just like fucking absorb it and hold it for like 3, 4, 5 years. And we can take a nap for a little while and we got to get back at it. Okay. Anybody want to say anything before we go?
I think I've seen this before. More people should be treating their politicians with contempt. That's what I have to say. Also, new Chariot video tomorrow. I've got it scheduled.
And you had one like the other day. You did warn us about this.
I'm going off. I actually have a new grifter video about some exposing the grift happening soon. So that as well.
Sweet.
Also one that touches on Israel and Palestine and video gaming. So I don't know if anybody's into that, but
I'm sure people are into one of those three things. I don't know. At least. Ryan, what do you got going on?
Nothing much at the moment. I'm still on a little bit of a break because I recently turned 43. And
damn, happy birthday, man.
Cute. And my old
happy
bones are
birthday.
creeping.
I'm right behind you.
But yeah, I just would say if you like everything we say here, or even just some of it, like and subscribe to all the channels that Dane has in the description. But also, I've heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard that if you share videos from the channel you like, that helps in the algorithm. So
that makes some sense, yeah. So if you don't have to share something, if you want to share to like talk shit on a video, do a screenshot, copy whatever text information that you want to, convey or whatever, is smart. It's a good point.
I think that means you should share my videos. That's what I'm getting out of that.
And also this one. And then help me get to fucking what am I at? I don't know. I'm so close to 8,000 subs. It's silly that I'm not there yet. But I'm gonna get there before Eric Debunks does. I promise. I probably won't. All right, but if you don't like our content, as we say,
enjoy the negative grift, guys. I'm out.
And then here's this.
My question is fiscal. With 450 million FEMA dollars being reallocated to open Alligator Alcatraz and 600 million taxpayer FEMA dollars being used to now open more concentration camps and ICE burning through $8.4 million a day to illegally detain people, how much does it cost for fascism? How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
Woo! Bad faith criticism. Are you a talentless YouTuber pretending to be an expert? Do you have a tantrum when you're criticized for being totally full of shit? Then the excuse you need is bad faith criticism.